me. So I will be putting that link on the group after this webinar. It is basically insisting more, and it's coming from the people who actually are in the business of giving stock tips or stock suggestions. And they themselves are saying that you can start and build your initial advantage with mutual funds. So that's a good thing. Hi Sanjita ji, how are you? आवाज आ रही है? आप लोगों की आवाज नहीं आ रही है, आप लोगों ने अपने आप अनम्यूट नहीं किया हुआ ठीक से. किसी की है नहीं, बट एनीवे जब क्वेश्चंस आएंगे तो देख लेंगे. नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम.
जी सर, आवाज आ रही सर. गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
So इसमें the article basically deals with that why we should start with mutual funds, even if like we have a certain bit of understanding about the direct stocks. And at the bottom of the article, it also says that we are in the business of suggesting direct stocks. So it's very interesting. So how many are we now here?
14 now.
Hi gentlemen, a lot of people I never actually saw before. Nice to have. Are you able to read the captions? I believe they'll be helpful. You're able to read the captions? You can send me a message to say yes, you are.
No, sir.
But clarity-wise, audio is okay. Yeah?
Yes, sir. Audio is okay, sir.
Anji?
Audio is okay, sir. But cannot see the captions.
What's wrong with this? Why can't I hear your...
Sir, headphones have to do it.
You have to switch on, sir.
Alright. No, I'm not using headphones, but yeah, I'll get the headphones. Last time I was using headphones. I'll try that. Just a moment. I'll be back. Okay, can somebody try out the audio now? I'm connected on the headphones.
Yes, sir, you are loud and clear.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So I don't know something
Sir, loud and clear.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's start with a query that somebody sent this afternoon. It has been sent so many times and things happen. And the gentleman is right now is a junior officer. And he said, he has asked me that I have never filed a return, obviously. Most of us haven't. And can I start investing in mutual funds? So I believe we all know the answer. What's the answer? And he's not going to complete his NRI status this year either. So that's a bit of conundrum for him because he has to pay the tax, and after that I'm not sure if he'll have much of money left for investments. But that's a general answer, and I can't see him having joined here. So The main thing I'll start off with is to keep yourself. Of course, most of you are always been stressing this again and again that we by the virtue of thinking that we are going to do a positive financial planning, we are trying to go legit. No under the radar. The department may not track me. I may not be caught, and all that stuff is not there. We have to complete our status in the first place. If we are not able to complete, we should pay tax. That has to be paid. And if on board you are misguided by the seniors and other people by the virtue of the age saying that koi dekhta nahi hai, please don't believe them. Now deep data mining and AI, everything, everybody is watching. So first thing is get your status out of the way, and if you cannot complete your status, pay the tax. It will be much cheaper if you pay it before time or in time. And even if you have an NRI status or you do not have an NRI status, you have a resident status, you have TDS more than 20,000 or less than 20,000, which is the eligibility by which NRI has to file a return. You must file a return. It doesn't matter, even if by law you are not required to do it, it will be in your favor later on. Okay, so we basically, right, Shailendra, I can read that. Thank you. So this was a seminar which was basically a meeting actually. I'll call it a meeting. I'll call it a meeting. This meeting was basically called for those people who are experienced in their investment journey. And by experience, I have taken a lowest common denominator of 1 crore, OCR, as we call it. Abhinav, please don't get shaken. बहुत जल्दी आपका भी हो जाएगा, ठीक है ना. बट हम यहीं से शुरू करते हैं. OCR क्यों कहते हैं? हम OCR को इसलिए पकड़ के बैठे रहते हैं because you know my endeavor is to start with a person from a very junior stage. If I could, I would start even when he's a cadet. I would make him do it from his parents' money if they can afford to give him 5,000 rupees one time and 1,000 rupees a month later on, and he can invest from his savings account also. It would be very nice because at least the habit comes from there. And when you see your first 5,000 rupees growing by fortune, maybe 5% in a month or 12% in a year or 15-20% in a year, you feel good about it. You know how it works. And then it's like a viral infection, you pass it on to other people also. And if they are happy, I don't know what is this companion mode, but doesn't matter. So if this thing happens, then what happens is then when he starts investing as a fourth engineer, as a third officer, he's investing a little amount because neither he has the money, the resources, and nor does he have the experience or the confidence in the system. The first time he starts account or folio with 5,000 rupees, he thinks, I don't know what will happen. So that's why I always suggest that once you have 10,000 rupees inside the folio, please make a redemption of 1,000 rupees and see. Or even if you are brave enough to invest more than that, you've invested 1 lakh, please make a redemption of just 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees and see how fast it comes into your system. Okay, Kandil is not able to join. Just a moment, please. Let me send it again to him. So he gets a kind of little bit of satisfaction that he's doing something, and then the journey starts. And slowly, from 2 ships as fourth engineer, as 1 ship as second officer, fourth engineer, third engineer, second officer, whichever stage, his corpus starts growing. In between, if he's lucky and the market comes down, he'll see this fortune coming down also. That is very important. If during your investment journey you have not seen a downturn, when the market has not lost 10%, or 20%, then you're not a true investor. Because in that case, you have not seen the pain. You have not seen what actually happens, how things go down and how they shoot back. So it's very important that in our investment journey, we see more of volatility. It's something very funny that I am saying, but this is a fact. The more of volatility you see and earlier you see, that much averse you become to the vagaries of the stock market or the capital market. And all this adds to your experience. When I say experience investor, it simply doesn't mean that he's collected 1 CR. That is not even a big amount if somebody starts as a second engineer, chief officer, or as a master. They just achieve it within 2 or 3 years if you use your entire money. But that doesn't get you the experience. That doesn't get you the feeling of taking risk. And then you don't even appreciate what is risk. So earlier you start, when you start with a small amount, doesn't matter. You can start with a small amount, which is my suggestion always, but keep growing on it. Don't come back after 3 years and say I was only doing a SIP of 10,000 rupees. That is not expected from our profession. As I always say, the thumb rule is 35% of your annual income spread over 12 months. With each fund, SIP or STP spread across the month so that you get the advantage of every market movement. You have seen the market movement, what happened on the 1st of August and how it moved to the 6th of August and how it happened, how it was on 3rd of June and what happened on the 4th of June. All this is going and adding to your experience. All this is going and adding to your experience. So the experience is very necessary, and that's what we call experienced investors, with the added caveat that you should have completed your OCR. Okay. So which ranks do I expect that would have completed the OCR? Obviously, I would expect the top 4 that they would have completed, at least joining here. But even the youngsters, a lot of youngsters who have started at the right time, there are people who have come down from his first ship after as a 4th engineer and started off investment, and they build up on it. They are aware that they have to increase their amount because they see it moving up. So even they, before they actually become a second engineer or a chief officer, you can expect that they would be somewhere close to that OCR thing. If everything goes fine like they have been going from 24th March last year. I especially talk about 24th March because I'm very particular about calculating when the market movement has started moving up and how the mutual funds have actually started trailing that market movement. They sometimes lead, sometimes they trail the market movement. And now, of course, like I told you, we have this additional index called the total market index, which actually gives us a better movement idea of the market than Nifty 50, next Nifty, mid 150, and the small 250. If you combine all those 500, this total market index does a better job. It was got 766 representative funds right across. So that's how we move ahead. These are the people who are expected to do. So now, as I have talked earlier already, that what have they gained in this journey? These people would have witnessed minimum 5 to 6 years of investment before reaching that OCR. That is my estimate. Some may would have done earlier, but that would be a very less number. But in less than 5 to 6 years, they would not have reached that OCR. That's my estimate, because till the first 6 7 years you also have your exams which prevent you from investing wholesale. You would have made withdrawals also, probably as you would have got married at an earlier rank itself. So all the expenses definitely come out of the same kitty. And if you have been smart, you probably would not have redeemed your mutual fund investments, the equity investments, which were standing at about only 35% of your earnings. So 65% of the earnings were still there with you to do as you wish. Right. Now, it is possible that they have made this corpus in mutual funds apart from the other assets. Some of them may have been very savvy and they may have invested in direct stocks, and they may have been unlucky. They may have been doing FNOs also, whose name I'm not saying, but it is possible. And like most of us do, and most of us, our parents implore us to do. You may be having a bit of real estate also. And if you have been listening to your mother, probably you would have got some gold also. So all this diversification actually must have taken a toll on your actual equity investment. But let's assume that you have reached this figure of OCR and you have also bought without actual planning, you have gone into other asset classes also. Now, and obviously, it is estimated that if you have bought the real estate, your major share would have actually gone into real estate. I think I'm right about that because it takes the cake, most of it. But like I said, maybe you were listening to me all this while and you were investing 35% of your salary, then you would have made this headway. What percentage of your assets was where I cannot specifically say, but when people talk to me on phone, I am able to listen to them for about 5 to 6 minutes. And because I also ask them to send the data before I have this phone call with them. But let's assume that they have done it. So what have they not done which they may try to do now? For sure, if they are not already in the top four ranks, they would be just about to be able to make that rank. They would be about to get promoted, maybe not joined yet, but I would expect that they would be there. Possibly they would have got admitted, they would have got married, and they would have had a baby, they would have started the family. Chances are that they may not be because the survey that I carried out last year in June said that a lot of people actually did not buy their own real estate, buy their own house for consumption, for living purpose. About 46%, if I remember correctly, were staying in the ancestral homes or with their parents, but that many people had not. So now, when they are at OCR, they are about to approach their top four rank. Now is the time that they can possibly think about taking a home loan because there's a huge jump from a second engineer to chief to from third engineer to second engineer or second officer to chief officer. There's a huge jump, and if you actually very astutely stop at that, you can make that essential thing about buying your house now if you have not done already. Uh, the best system, of course, is to take a loan. And as we have already said, the loan should be taken for as long as possible, with as large amount as possible, and preferably from a PSU bank because they have a little better system of vetting the property. Try to buy properties which are almost ready to possess, even if they are going at a premium. It's worth it because in India, whether it's the politicians or the realtors, don't believe promises. I have never believed in the promises ever. So this is what exactly it is, that the asset which we were talking all about, and I was saying that this is not the time. Actually, as a third officer or second officer, fourth engineer or third engineer, the time is not right for you to take a home loan. Now it is because you can back it up. The loan should obviously be backed by your term plan. Don't get boggled by the premiums which the bank is charging because it's actually nothing. We have seen now that the term plan that the insurance companies are offering you come at a very with a lot of loading. So if there's an advantage, you're getting that the loan and you're getting a term plan with that. Take that as MWPA, Married Women Properties Act, which the bank will try to block, but you say no. My wife is going to be the co-holder of the property, so MWPA will protect that the money, in unfortunate case of any eventuality, will go to her, and she can decide to pay off the loan as she wants. Right. So don't forget about that. Asset-wise, you have one house. That's more than enough. Now the question comes, which most of the people say, is I have collected 2 CR and I was only doing mutual funds, like you said, all this time. Now, what is different that I can do? So far, you have been investing in active mutual funds, and you've also been making a parallel investment in your wife's name, as we have been talking and I've been suggesting to you. You have been investing in active funds and index funds. So now, with your demat account in your wife's name and money being transferred legally to her account, you can ask her to buy different kind of ETFs as well. Little bit, not much, because a lot of the index funds are not a lot of the ETFs are not mirrored or offered as the index fund. You have to buy them on the market. It's not a good thing. I don't suggest it, but it eventually happens when a person gets bored, when you make money without doing anything. Because, like I said, that your OCR will come in 5 to 6 years, but your 2CR will come in about 4 to 4.5 years. Next one. After that, your 3CR will come in just about 3 years, 36 months or 40 months if you remain very disciplined about it. Fourth CR will come in 2 years, and from there, it just keeps doubling. Very soon, within 10 years, you achieve that retirement figure, maybe earlier than that. And at that stage, even if you stop and keep enjoying your salary fully, which you will not be because by now it's become a habit, from then your corpus will grow automatically without doing anything. So your asset is there. You would like to maybe want, because of the peer pressure, you like to buy some stocks and hold. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can buy, but do not trade in that. Do not buy and sell same day. Do not buy today and on the basis of tips and sell after 5 days or 5 weeks. Keep them. Keep them. If you think they are good, they are based on your observation. Always, you do not have to make a technical analysis of stocks. Go sit down with balance sheets. They mean nothing. Like Saurabh Mukherjee says in his Diamonds in the Dust, he says almost 80% of the balance sheets in the Indian companies are cooked up. So they mean nothing to you, actually. These quarterly results which come out, they are not even audited. They're just put out in the public. So don't depend on that. But you can use your own sense. You can see, like there was a discussion with friends this afternoon that Indigo, that all the airlines in the world are bleeding. Why Indigo is going up? Oh, have you ever seen an airline? Have you ever booked your flight from point A to point B and it was not an Indigo flight? And when you boarded that Indigo flight, was it ever empty? And whether you bought cheeseburger or paneer tikka sandwich on board or whether you booked it earlier, how many people were there who did not? Did you know that this catering business of Indigo actually far outstrips Zomato? It far outstrips. If they just listed their this food and beverage business, they would be earning much more money. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff you have to go by your observation. Right? If somebody actually saw, they've been painting with Asian paints for 35 years now, but nobody ever thought of buying it, right? And similarly, there are a lot of businesses around us which you get to your eyes on, which sometimes it hits you here, and you say, yes, will always be a demand for this kind of products with this company, and this company is also changing with time. It's changing its products. It makes sense nowadays. Most of the people are trying to list their companies, but you have to get to the basis of it. I am not, by the virtue of this webinar, I am not definitely not even 1% trying to push you towards that. But all I'm saying is that there comes a stage for the experienced people when they feel that their money, apart from 35% also now they have money. Let's say there's a chief officer or a master now who's already investing 35% in mutual funds and he says, why don't I try my hand at this? So, okay, he can. He has the money. Better than dumping it in some luxury item. It's good. Buy some stock and forget about it. As an example, I can tell you about my journey, which actually with equity started much, much before mutual funds came to India. And I was flying out to join a ship. Oh no, I was not flying out. I was joining a ship. This was 87. And L&T had come out with FCD. You may not even have heard of FCD, but they are called fully convertible debentures. The maximum anybody was allowed to apply was for 200 FCDs, which would give an interest of 12% for 5 years and then later be converted to stocks. So that 87 car debenture, I kept getting interest. 60 rupees a debenture was the price. And after 5 years, they got converted to the stocks, equity stocks, and then they split and bonus and split and bonus with little bit of dividend coming. And I sold it, I think, as late as 2019, and that 60,000 rupees I mean, you can imagine 19 years plus 12 years, 31 years, but I sold it for 28 lakhs. So that is something like I never did buying, selling, just bought it once. Similar was the case of Amar Raja batteries. My brother worked there. So these are just two or three multi-baggers that I had in my life, but they work. They work, and if you have a good this thing, as long as you don't, digress from the main investment forum as a mutual fund. Like I said, I'll be sharing this article with you, which has come from Prime Investor, who are who are in the business of earning money by suggesting stocks, but they themselves are saying that we should always make a firm footing by investing regularly in mutual funds. Okay. So now this is what they can do. They have already bought the land and they can continue to buy the gold in physical form or gold ETFs if they like, though, but I do prefer gold thing. Don't fall for any government scheme like SGB. Now, if you will remember the senior people of the groups, whether it is WhatsApp or the Telegram group, that from when I was saying that I do not believe in this sovereign gold bonds. And now if you see how things have happened, suddenly one day government decides that I'll shave off 6 to 7% of your profits then before paying it to you. So gold, if bought, is better physical. Now even the Indian gold is hallmark, so you can buy it in India itself. And when the hallmarking people they sell it to you, they also buy it. Tanishq doesn't give you cash for it. You have to buy jewelry instead of that. But others, I believe, they buy in. Even if you have to buy jewelry in turn of it, sometime you might use it. So it is good to have it and keep it on. Okay. So now we also assume that by one CR, when he has reached, he's only got about six funds, which so far he was into flexi cap or maybe a large cap, one or two small caps, and one maybe large and mid cap or mid and small cap. This must have been the general makeup if you have been doing what I have been suggesting. Hopefully, you have not taken any sectorial bets. You have not invested in any sectorial funds. You have not invested in any thematic fund. So now is the time when you can add two more funds to it. And these funds can be a little more risky. In the sense, you can add mid and small cap to it. You can add a multi cap to it. And you can enhance your amount because from hence on, you have also to see that your basic amount should also increase, even though your salary doesn't increase in dollar term, but at least in rupee terms, it may be increasing. So accordingly, you can make a little more allocation here and you can increase the number of funds. Between 1 to 2 CR, 8 funds are good. After 2 CR, add another 1 or 2 funds. Try not let any, as long as one of the allocation in any one fund exceeds 75 lakhs. That's my figure that I like to keep as a thumb rule. It has no mathematical or financial connotation to it. It's just matter of comfort because 75 lakhs you have invested and it has come to that level. Beyond 75 lakhs, it let it grow. So you add one more fund. There's no harm. The reason for this is because now we have started having capital gains. So tomorrow if the fund suppose starts doing bad for an extended period of time, about 2 to 3 years, like it happened with HDFC equity, which we call HDFC flexi cap now. So then if you want to make a change, you don't have to really. So you leave it in this place and you move to the next fund like we have been doing so far. This LTCG, which has been introduced in 2018 and now which has been increased to 12.5%, this will actually work as incentive to you for not switching over during a small phase of underperformance. Firstly, we will try to opt for funds which have a backing. That is why I do not like to suggest mutual funds, AMCs, which have recently been launched. even though it is like we were talking about White Oak by Kenneth, it's recent, or Mahindra, or Navi, or whichever of these, or Zerodha, or Grow. I don't, because they have a very little life. They do not have any history. So as far as possible, I mean, if you have to really consider, we should always go for the standard which have companies which have been there for period of, let's say, 20 years, 15 years. At least they should have completed that much of time in the market. It's very important in the Indian context because it's a growing economy and a lot of things do happen here. So we have Aditya Birla Sun Life, we have Axis, not bad. Bandhan was IDFC, qualifies. Canada Robeco, upcoming, has been very steady. DSP, excellent one, has been there for a long time. Franklin Templeton, one of the pioneers. HDFC, yes. HSBC, avoid. ICICI, Invesco, Kotak Mahindra, Mirai Asset, obviously. Motilal Oswal is the best for your index funds also, and also your S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 when it gets released. Nippon India was earlier called Reliance, another one which has been there for almost 30 years. PGIM India for some time hasn't been doing so great. PPIFAS is just like its own, the symbol that they have on the website, that is a turtle or a tortoise. They move slowly. Quant, I'll leave the decision to you. SBI, yes, very much. Tata, certainly. UTI, I don't like. So these are, so many of them are there, and you can select any of them. Most of them now, SEBI has made things easier from 2018, and the name itself suggests what category they belong to. Earlier, they used to be so and so blue, so and so red, so and so premier, so and so sterling, so and so diamond, like that. So they did not indicate what capitalization they were actually referring to. So these 14, 15 companies which I have told you, out of that, 6 funds in each of them, 15, 6 and 90, you have 90 funds to choose in the equity section. You ask me, very nice, thank you, I can suggest to you, but I only suggest on the basis of my personal experience. Whatever I have held before or I am holding now, only that I would suggest to you, because it is not only the returns that I see, I also see the kind of service, I also see the kind of changeover that happens when the fund manager changes, what happens. So, and when I do not have sufficient data, I discuss it with the people that I know in the industry and other people. So we refer to these fund managers as, like, backyard name. I know more about them than I would know about the best politician, local politician, or my own relatives, like people like S. Narain, people like Nilesh Shah of Kotak, and people like Agarwal of HDFC. So these people are, generally, we know them. So if we are in doubt, we can ask them. I mean, that is the status that we have brought mariners to. And I have the backing of all of you when I talk, when I discuss things with these people, and they sit up and listen, because there may be just 2,500 of you out there who have been in touch with me so far, but they also know that you'll be investing throughout your life. And 1 crore from each of you is 2,500 crores. So they know that this is a fraternity which will certainly be into the long-term wealth generation, and they like that. They like that. So there are a few notes that I have made. Okay, G, we vanished. So this is what you can do the addition of this. You can start investing in ETFs, see how they move, because after all, ETFs do have a little less expense ratio than the index funds also. And it is my strong belief, as because I have been taking a lot of inputs from all of you on the basis of your personal investing cycle also, because I can't invest in everything to see. And unless you invest in something, you cannot actually track it. So I have agreed that slowly we are moving to that era of index investing or passive investing, where fund manager has less to play. But I would not agree that active management will go out of the line. As I was listening to this fund manager of White Oak, one of them, I don't forget his name. And when we always say, I also say sometimes that in America it's generating alpha and not the active funds. But we have to realize that even though the American GDP has grown, the market cap has grown, but in last 40 years, 40 years, the number of the listed companies has dropped by 50%. Means they have half the number of companies that existed 40 years before. It's not the case for us. We have five companies being listed every month, six companies being listed every month. So we have a bigger cycle. We have a bigger spectrum and it will continue to move because we have not even started seeing the result of each of them. Apart from Asian Paints and Berger, we don't have many paint companies. Apart from Bata and Liberty, we don't have too many listed shoe companies. But all of them are going to generate. Or so we have to give it that active fund management is not going anywhere. All the same, we should not leave the boat and not try index investing. As like I have been telling few of you that in this grow total market index, you must put a little amount. Doesn't matter if it is 1,000 rupees a month or 10,000 rupees a month, but you'll be able to track and then compare with others. Longer is your term or the sampling data, longer better will be your comparison. I'll have to just peel off and send a message. Okay, so that's what my suggestion is. And now there may be other needs also because you move to 1 lakh. So what are your needs? You expected. So what are your other needs that have to be fulfilled? And I do not know. They are very specific. It can be that people have started investing late and they have children who are going to college. For the house, so I've already said, or children, maybe some people started late and children getting married in the next 2 to 3 years. They may be having some requirements, and so immediately the first thing that you think is that this money is growing faster, let's get out of it. So please understand that this money which is growing, one moment please, I need to. So whatever be your requirements, it doesn't matter. Main thing is that you should be able to fulfill it from your other assets. Whenever, like I told you before also, that whatever be your expenses, first try to fulfill your requirements from your fixed income assets or monetizing your real estate. After all, even if you are a senior and you have not invested much into mutual funds, it will does not mean that you do not have other assets. You try to monetize those, the fixed income assets, the NREFTs, the post office schemes, the PPF. Avoid PPF, but if you have to, try to use that. So even if you have collected only this much amount and you are on the higher side of the age, as a lot of the members here on this group are, you are into your 40s or late 40s, please do not touch this equity exposure. It is wonderful for you and it will grow. I know money is for consumption, but this is not something that you started very early that it is grown. This is the course that you have taken and somehow you have collected your first CR or 2 CR. And at this stage, if you have had some requirement, then you should not really try to fulfill that with equity, because equity will grow with time, as we have all talked about compounding the formula. So try to touch this at the last. This I am not saying in theory or anything. This actually has been the result.
And this is what, in my opinion, you should be doing, right? So these are the things that I can suggest. In this list of mutual funds that we said, now you could add mid cap. You can also try the contra funds if you have not been investing into it, or value funds. I have already suggested an index fund for this, which was Motilal Oswal, enhanced equity fund, which is an index fund. So apart from this, the ICICI Value Discovery Fund is one of the very unique and very, a fund with a lot of history. So that is something that you can think about, which you can add certainly, and you can. This is not out of your 35% which you are investing so far. You can add on to it separately, because now you know it moves faster. And somehow the value funds have been doing excellently for the last 4 or 5 years, and even before. ICICI too, if I'm not mistaken, it has generated a return of over 20% in the last 20 years, as I have already shared with you. We are not saying that this will sustain in future. Certainly not. Past history definitely not. But at least you get a guidance that what do they mean. So when we say value or contra, it means that you are they are buying stocks which are not very highly rated today, like HDFC, or previously it was ITC. Nobody was looking at them and they were trading very low. So similarly, they try to look around across the market cap. So it automatically becomes a flexi cap. So they buy that and they wait. They wait for this thing to grow up. And then they change over as soon as the exposure becomes 10%. I'll just take a small break. I'll just tell my wife to, it's urgent. I'll just join you back. Yeah, okay, I'm back. So you can take this, and any other thing, like you keep asking me now that can I try this fund? Can I try this fund? There is no harm. There is no harm. But even here, even after this, do not try out NFOs. Do not try out funds which have been just introduced unless they are index funds. In fact, this fund itself, which has been just come out from DSP, and they use the word Nifty 100, top 10. So, and they have given the data also that it has performed 2.4% better than others. These are like kind of cliches, as far as possible, we have to invest and stay in the overall market. We are not in here in as our love for mutual funds, or our love for particular sector, or our love for particular companies. We are here basically to get more money for our investments. And if something says that yes, we can, and this is going to give a return, fine, we go ahead with that. But always wait for the history. With the index funds, you may have the advantage, because I did not find this particular graph which I shared with yesterday, but I did not find this index of top 10 funds anywhere, right? So you can do that experimenting, certainly, but do not do it unless you reach this comfortable stage. Because by now, when you have reached this stage in so many years, you have actually collected a lot of experience. You have collected lots of resilience. ऐसा बहुत कम होगा कि आपने 6 to 7 years आपने इन्वेस्ट किया और आपने डाउन टर्न नहीं देखा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. 7 years में मार्केट एक बार नीचे आता है, देन इट गोज अप. Again it goes down, again it goes up, and it has been seen that amount that it goes down so far, it doesn't stay down that much, and it comes up faster in much lesser time than that. So which is good for us, because see, we are always earning in future. We go on board and then we earn. So it's good that when the time comes to invest, when we are going back on board, unless of course you're getting paid 12 months a year, the market stays down that time or goes down. Always pray that when I'm going on board, let the market go down. Let it go down 10%, let it go down 15%, so that for the same amount, we can buy 15% more. So when it actually does well after 5, 6 years, you see the amount growing. I have very often in various seminars I have said that in between 2008 to 2009 end, I had pumped all my salary into the sector, and I was not seeing my value of my investment go up. It was just staying steady at whatever it was between 90, 95 or 1. Always for almost 15 months I kept putting money in that. But what was growing was the units. The units was going up. So when actually the market started moving post 2010 and 11, it showed up. It showed up that your units were there, but NAV was depressed. The NAV came up. So that's how it happens. So that is so far. It's almost 45 minutes since we started. The list that I had made is over. And before I invite you for your questions, I have a small request that I would like to make a small panel of little experienced people, kindly volunteer for it, so that when new people join, you can handhold them and take them through the process of starting their mutual fund investments. I can suggest the funds if you do not want to suggest it yourself, but at least help them that how to start with, where to start with. And always when you do it, always inform them that the first duty is to complete their status, NRI status, and after completing the NRI status, to file the return. If they do not complete the NRI status, pay the taxes, and then they can think of investing. There is no other method that they should adopt. So with this legitimacy in picture, you should always insist that you start with this. Tell them where to go, try to find in their city, which this is the way I do. The reason I ask is age, rank, full name, and city of residence is first 3 years to be able to identify and recall them in future. And when I ask about the city of residence, I try to find different AMCs close to their home and tell them you can start here. If they don't find a AMC next to their home, better than going to CAMS, it is better to go to your bank. Most of the people have opened an account in private banks. Go to the bank and tell them these are the funds I want to invest in. I will invest in this. Go for the regular plan, doesn't matter, but at least start. After you have made a few investments of about 30, 40, 50,000, you can always make your SIP in the direct mode. It's very simple. Okay. So that is the way you have to explain to a new person. And it is very important because if you can help me out with this, the people will be able to move their things faster, start the investments faster. I personally find it very unethical to suggest that you do it through my distributor, through that distributor, because it becomes a little case of misunderstanding. They might think that maybe I have some interest. So do not suggest a distributor on their own unless they are, you find them absolutely, clueless that they cannot do anything. Because I have seen people are going to camps and doing nothing. KYC after 6 days gets rejected. They don't want to go second time. They go second time. Can say, okay, now what? Now you go and do this thing or do something else. So the person is lost, and after maybe a week, he loses the momentum or the eagerness to start investing. So it is in our interest that it does not happen because we are a community, a very small community. So we should be very well littered and very well connected. Right. So now my thing is over and I can take your questions if you wish to. If you have any questions. Yeah. Unmute yourself first.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, can we speak something about people have already reached 2 CR, 3 CR? So can we talk something about the asset allocation? I think that's a very important aspect of it.
Yeah. So normally, I have always been saying that keep your equity in equity mutual fund as 75% and the remaining fixed asset at 25%. This I am always saying out of your earnings. That is, suppose you are whatever you are earning, and you say that 35% I am allocating to mutual funds. Out of that also, I do not say anything. You can increase from 35 to 40%, so that 5% extra goes into your fixed income assets. Up to 1 lakh, up to 1 CR, fine, 75, 25. Up to 2 CR, fine, 150, 50. 3 CR becomes 2 and 1. Perfectly all right. But there comes a stage when you have reached more than 3 CR or you have reached about 4 CR. So at that stage, become 3 and 1, right? At that stage, after this stage, it is not necessary that you need to keep the 25% allocation. You can reduce it and you can increase to equity. Or if you feel that, no, my debt requires more, see, I am not even concerned about your 65% of your salary. We are only talking about the 35% of the salary, right? Or maybe 40% now. Let's say 10% you are putting in your NRE FD or your debt funds. I have always said that try to keep your NRE FD restricted to 75 lakhs, right? I mean, when you are in a higher train at 4 CR or 3 CR, don't go beyond 75, because suppose you lose your NRI status for one particular year, at least your when your interest becomes taxable, because it's a still little confusion whether that interest will become taxable as per income tax or not become taxable as per FCRA. So at least even if you have to pay tax, it is restricted. You only 7% of 75 lakhs will only be about 5 lakhs. So you would stay in that margin. So that's the reason. All the same, if this money was in your debt funds, even if it was, forget about 75 lakhs, it was 7.5 CR, it will not attract any tax whether you become a resident, whether you remain a non-resident. It will not attract any tax, as you know, till you sell.
So can we do one thing? Can we have like 80% equity mutual funds?
Yeah.
Example, flexi cap.
Yeah.
And for a higher, bigger portfolio for people who have already achieved the purpose. So another 20%, we can do one thing, or 70% equity, 20% we can go for BAF, and 10% we can go for FDs. Because BAF at the end of the day would behave like a taxation would be like equity, not as a debt. So it would be at some point when we will redeem the BAF, so it would attract taxation as equity mutual funds rather than debt mutual funds.
Yeah. For this, first wait for the clarity on the taxation. I myself am not clear whether the taxation for debt would be as they had declared last year in 1st of April, or whether they have increased, because last year it was that whatever be the capital gains will be treated like your income. It will be in the capital gain, but it will be treated like your income, which means up to 7 lakhs.
In any case, it is higher than equity.
No, that's okay. My point is, it's not a question of higher. With the earlier law, if your capital gains was from debt was 7 lakhs, then you would not pay tax on it, as per the new regime. And to get a capital gain of 7 lakhs, you would have had to redeem at least 1 CR in debt funds.
Barabar.
But equity, it was not like that. They only had a limit of 1 lakh, which is now 1.25 lakhs. And remaining would have been 12.5. So you have to consider the taxation part. But having said that, when you are already vigilant about the taxation, then it's a matter of experimentation. Like one of my close friends, he is very enamored with, no problem. Okay, thanks. So he's very enamored with hybrid funds. BF. He says, I like that the fund manager does the switching from to debt to equity. My point is that when the market is going down, suppose the fund manager has not taken the call to switch from here to there, the market has gone down. Now what to do?
No, so that is the beauty of hybrid or BAF fund.
Now my point is that when the market has gone down and my funds are going down, whether they go down by 15% or whether they go down by 12% is immaterial. For me, it is immaterial, personally. I would rather, you see, again, your question of selection and flexibility or versatility of mutual funds suffers. Now, if the market is down and your equities are down, you would, and if you had a hybrid fund and you wanted money, you would have had to redeem it. Doesn't matter what the taxation was there. But
Yes, yes, yes.
if the market was down and you had a good allocation to debt funds, you will redeem your debt funds first. So that versatility suffers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that every year you sell equity, go to debt, sell debt, go to equity, but whatever you earn in fresh, you can put in the respective. Suppose your equity now has gone to 78. So you know that when you bring your salary next month, you have to put it in your debt fund and forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of asset allocation is that जब मार पड़े तो हमें कम पड़े.
हाँ, मतलब जो सर एक जगह पे जब हमें SWP लगानी होगी तो SWP ऐसा ना हो कि मार्केट की जब डाउन साइकिल है तो हमारे जो बेस्ट फंड है जिसमें से हमें SWP लगानी है वो ऑल टाइम लो पे हो, तो उस
That's
समय या
exactly.
तो हम गिल्ट पे लगा लें या डेट पे लगा लें या बैफ पे लगा लें, जिससे कि एटलीस्ट मार पड़े तो कम पड़े.
हाँ, नहीं अब आपने गिल्ट और उसके साथ में बैक जोड़ दिया है तो मैं
एग्जाम्पल सर 10-10%
हाँ.
हमने कहा 70% इक्विटी पे ले लिया, 10% हमने बैफ पे ले लिया, 10% गिल्ट पे ले लिया. एक एग्जाम्पल. तो सबसे पहले तो एफडी जाएगी, फिर गिल्ट जाएगा, फिर बैफ जाएगा, मतलब
और इतने टाइम में आपका जो फंड है वो इतना बुरा नहीं करेंगे.
एग्जैक्टली. और इतने में मार्केट रिकवर हो जाएगा.
हाँ, इतने में मार्केट आपका जो है नीचे रहेगा भी नहीं. राइट.
एग्जैक्टली.
So that is what my suggestion is, that I personally don't believe in diversify. I have invested. See, HDFC Prudence was one of the most successful hybrid fund. Aggressive.
Ever.
It used to perform better than equity funds, but it is gone. It has vanished. So my point is that on a balanced advantage fund or a hybrid fund, two fund managers work minimum. One is an equity fund manager, one is a debt fund manager.
बराबर.
And they have to be approved by the CIO or the MD or whichever the team is. So no, it makes a little decision little more complicated. I would rather see what I do is I have whatever little money I have, but I have put it across all forms of debt funds. There was a time 5 years ago when I was advised that PSU and banking funds would do better. I had put substantial amount in that in 2-3 companies. I also had put in gilt, but gilt is a very volatile, even though it is a government bonds fund. It is very volatile, right? Now, I have already told you that long-term advantage fund are being touted, even though the fund manager themselves saying that no, time is not there. But I feel this is the time when I would have put for general purpose, liquid fund or ultra short-term funds were doing fine. Right. Or like I had put substantial amount in corporate bond, which are also called credit risk bonds.
Credit risk.
You see, so when moment you keep having more and more money at a certain stage, because what happens is the irony of life is that when your needs will become less and less, your salary would also be very high. And your disposable income to invest will also be very high.
Of course, that's the point.
Yeah, one moment. Somebody Arpit has asked that for an occasional 1 year break from sailing, should I change MF, AMC, KYC from NRI to resident and vice versa? No. So the point is, it is not required, Arpit. You do not have to do that. Firstly, the banks require your KYC after a period of 2 years. So you do not have to change your KYC in that particular posture, and certainly for your MFs, you can wait for 2 years. If you do not have your status after 1 year changed back to your NRI, then certainly you will require to change this status to resident status, and this can be done in a very simple form. Shailendra, you can ask me the question directly instead of putting in a chat box, because that is a kind of a distraction for me to go there. So you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Shailendra Paradkar, you hearing? You can unmute yourself. Or should I do it for you? Okay, he's speaking. Yeah, Shailendra, go ahead. क्लियर नहीं हो आप? आपने क्वेश्चन भी नहीं है आपका, मैंने दिखाई नहीं पड़ रहा चैट बॉक्स में, तो आपने एंटर नहीं दबाया. या ओके, मोहित Okay, Shailendra, I got your question. You're traveling, so you'll keep Muslims. I have your KYC as NRI. I will be investing for long. If all goes well, we'll start redeeming after I quit selling. Then I'll be ready. How will the mutual fund redeeming work, taxation, वगैरह वगैरह. There's no problem. Your status in your mutual funds will change by the virtue of one letter to each AMC. Maybe now it is via the RTA also, but it is better to do each AMC accompanied with your two checks, cancelled checks. One of the earlier account and second is the new account. You can change your NRE account or NRO account to the resident account. One account will cease to function, and then your account will be changed to the resident. With keep the checkbook of the cancelled account, the closed account, and together with that, write a letter saying that I have ceased to be a non-resident. Please change the KYC of my folio number so and so maintained with you to resident. Without any taxation, without any selling, redeeming, your status will automatically become that of a resident. You will get a message, mail from them. You will get an account statement which on top will show resident individual. And after that, now when you redeem something, you have to pay TDS at the mutual fund level. After this, there will be no TDS. You will have to pay the taxation. Taxation will remain same, but you will have to pay it at the end of the year or whenever you are filing the tax return. So it will be more beneficial when you become a resident. As a resident, you will be able to invest in lot more things and be able to do lot more things than otherwise. So you don't have to worry. You have already started investing. Please maintain that minimum level of investment. Increase it when you can. Whatever money you get surplus, put it in a debt fund and continue STP in those particular funds if you don't want to add any more funds. Switch or STP can be done in addition to SIP in a particular fund if you want, whichever way you wish. Is that okay, Shailendra? Yeah, I think it should be okay. All right.
Rajiv sir, I have a
yes sir. हाँ बोलिए.
अच्छा, Rajiv sir, आपने बोला, you said that a cap or let's say limit of your total invested value or let's say market cap in a particular fund should be kept to a 75 lakh limit.
Preferably, yes.
Preferably. So that was for a particular mutual fund or the mutual fund house you are talking about?
I would rather say for a mutual fund scheme. Because there are funds, there are funds like, in ICICI, there are 6-7 funds which are excellent. And by the time, because you have not even started investing so far, by the time you actually reach that level of chief engineer or master, you would have had so much of a corpus that it will be impossible to put it within 5-6 funds or 7-8 funds. Right. You will need to have at least 10 to 14 funds, So, like if I start counting ICICI, I can count at least 4 funds which I would like to invest today. Whatever I'm investing. In Kotak, I would like to do that. In HDFC, I would like to do that. But so at least one scheme we can keep like that. It's not about safety of the funds. The fund houses are very safe. Right. Let me repeat this again, that in India, the fund houses cannot shut, stop and run. A company tomorrow can cease to exist, like Satyam or the companies which have ceased to exist. Their value may go down, but the fund house itself cannot go. Your value of your scheme, the scheme may suffer a certain amount of underperformance periodically, which it should. It has to happen. No company can perform excellently over a period of 20-25 years.
I understand. I fully agree, Rajiv Bhaiya. So, just to continue with my question, sorry to interrupt. So, now, like, let's say, for example, HDFC mid-cap opportunities, my limit as per this, let's say, 75 is already reached. So, now, should I be looking for some other mid-cap fund in some other mutual fund house?
Yes.
Because this is one of the best performing funds in mid-cap.
Yes. Certainly, if your cap has reached in this particular mid-cap fund, you can select another mid-cap. There are excellent ones. And you can even try an index fund for a mid-cap, like your Nippon 150. mid cap, and you can. If you're not invested in Nippon Growth Fund, you can try out Nippon Growth Fund also. I don't know. I am supposed to take the names of these funds or not, but you see, by the virtue of their performance in last so many years, there is no harm. See, a community, and I do not have any compulsions in telling you that this is the best performing. Today, just check the NAV of Reliance Growth, what it is. It's reached past some 4,800. What kind of mutual fund has an NAV of 4,800? Even HDFC equity doesn't have, which I always say was, HDFC Flexi Cap, which it was. Let me see. Nippon Growth is 4,473. The scheme came into listing in January 95. 5 years, 29 years. 29 years it has grown to 447 times. This is the growth value in the direct option. So like that, you have to search and you have to give it. I would rather invest in a company which has stayed between that 6 to 10 rank throughout 20 years rather than invest in a company which was number one for last 3 years. Yeah, you know which funds I'm talking about. Right. So, it should have this fund has undergone change of ownership. This mutual fund company has undergone change of ownership. Fund managers have undergone change of ownership. That is the point.
Right. Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Right. Yes, Abhinav Sharma ji.
हेलो सर, दिस इज अनिल।
हाँ जी, इसके बाद मनीष सिंह भी पूछेंगे ना सवाल। मनीष ही पूछ रहे हैं क्या? ओके, बोलिए।
हाँ सर मेरा
पिछली बार अभिनव ने कहा था कि आप 60 साल के हो गए हो, थक भी गए हो, इसलिए नहीं पूछूंगा। तो अभिनव का नंबर है। बेटा तू भी 60 साल का होगा, चिंता मत कर। हाँ बोलो।
ओके सर, दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे मैंने केवाईसी मेरा रेसिडेंट है, मतलब इंडियन रेसिडेंट है, तो एनआरआई केवाईसी कराना सही रहेगा या मैं इस पे भी कंटिन्यू कर सकता हूँ?
भाई देखो, आप कितने टाइम तक रेजिडेंट रहने वाले हो? जब तक आप रेजिडेंट रहोगे आपका सेविंग्स अकाउंट होना चाहिए। जब आप एनआरआई हो जाओगे तब आपका एनआरआई अकाउंट होना चाहिए। अभी ये कैच 22 सिचुएशन आती है। Suppose you start working on the ship tomorrow. Let's say you're going for first time, right? Let's assume you're going for first time. Now, in that particular case, your salary is coming, right? Whatever you're earning, you're going to send it to India. Which account are you going to send it to? If you send it to a resident account or an NRO account, it will be treated as a taxable salary. You have to send it to an NRE account. Now, how will you open an NRE account? If you're opening an NRE account, then you account, or at least not show it anywhere. No transaction should come into that till you close it. As a non-resident, you cannot have a savings account, so how can you invest as a resident? बड़ा कैच 22 सिचुएशन होती है। तो अगर आपने एज अ वो कहाँ चलेगा, मकाम आ गए तो डर के मारे
नहीं आ रहे।
ओके। तो अभी सपोज यू हैव स्टार्टेड इन्वेस्टिंग इन द पास्ट एज अ रेजिडेंट, यू कैन कंटिन्यू all that, like I told you just now, changing from NRI to resident takes one application. Similarly, changing from NRI or NRE account KYC, resident KYC to NRO KYC. It just takes the application that I am an NRI now, this is a proof, now please change this to NRO. So you see, our statuses of investment are different from your income tax status. Please understand that. As an NRI, you're allowed to have an NRO account as your this thing. So when you come back again, first you start investing through NRO. Then you start investing as an NRE from your NRE account. Right? You have to find a solution for yourself. The point is, legally, you're not allowed to have a savings account. But it is also not that you will be put behind the jail if as an NRI you are having a savings account. You will be asked a question, why are you having a savings account? And in your own interest, is it good to have a savings account? If you have an NRE account, when your salary is coming to an NRE account, I hope this is clear that your salary must be received in NRE account for you to claim the tax exemption status. Even if you are an NRI, you cannot send it to NRO or resident account and get that status, right?
Okay.
Clear हो गया?
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
ओके, राइट। अभी किनका था इसके पहले? मनीष।
Good evening, sir.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
सर, अंडर दिस इक्विटी पोर्टफोलियो जो लार्ज मिड और स्मॉल कैप में जो मैं एलोकेशन फॉलो कर रहा हूँ वो 65-35 और स्मॉल दोनों का मिला के है। अभी
65 मिड कैप और
जो
स्मॉल
मैं
कैप का
लार्ज
मिला
में
है।
एलोकेट कर रहा हूँ उसको मैं निफ्टी 50 इंडेक्स नहीं 35 मिड और स्मॉल का मिला के 65 लार्ज कैप का है।
ओके,
तो 65 में सर आई एम डिवाइडिंग इट इक्वली बिटवीन निफ्टी 50 इंडेक्स एंड फ्लेक्सी कैप, पारंपरिक फ्लेक्सी कैप। तो अभी रिसेंटली लाइक सर कुछ दिन पहले मैं निफ्टी 50 इंडेक्स के वर्सेस मतलब फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड के परफॉर्मेंस को इवेलुएट कर रहा था 10 ईयर में। तो मोस्टली 80% फ्लेक्सी कैप मतलब इजीली आउट परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। तो इसमें सर फ्लेक्सी कैप में ज्यादा परफॉर्मेंस मतलब एक्सपोजर लेके निफ्टी 50 को रिड्यूस कर देना चाहिए।
मैं भी लैपटॉप में वही खोल रहा था, बिकॉज मेरे भी दिमाग में ये आ रहा था दैट फ्लेक्सी कैप तो सबसे बड़ा ऑप्शन है ये। यू सी, नाउ द थिंग इज आई आल्सो हैव टू मूव विद स्टेप्स। व्हेन आई इंट्रोड्यूस समबडी टू इन्वेस्टिंग, आई हैव टू प्ले सेफ सो दैट the person doesn't suffer much of a shock if the market comes down. So we always start with the large cap, or we started with the large cap. But then with the awareness, I judged that people are becoming more aware faster than what I thought. So in that particular view, what I can suggest now is that either you select one multi-cap. I was just trying to see which are the multi-caps that we can invest in as an index fund. So I don't really see any index fund in that category, right? Flexi cap fund to फिर भी मिल सकता है, but best is instead of the further investment in large cap, I would suggest you split between one multi cap and one flexi cap fund, apart from the small cap and mid cap which you are having, and continue this for at least 1 year and see the difference in your portfolio. Don't exit the large cap, certainly not. So even though if this is of higher expense ratio when you go for these direct funds, definitely there'll be more having expense ratio higher than your index fund, but not so much. So you can always, certainly opt for this Mirai asset, right? Large and mid cap. Keep that as one of your major funds. They have already opened for continuous subscription. So what's your rank, Manish? So certainly you can take a higher allocation to this. You can have two SIPs or SIPs or STPs to this fund in a month instead of having one. So this is one of the very good funds that you can be investing for future. Another is the Flexi Cap fund. It's not difficult. I think we have discussed quite. If actually you show me a video, that I can realize that when we talked earlier or not, but doesn't matter. So in future, I would like that people also instead of phone call, will try to go on video only. Much better. Yeah. ठीक है. Okay. तो हम लोग फिर एक फ्लेक्सी कैप करते हैं, एक मल्टी कैप आप कर लीजिए, ठीक है ना, लार्ज एंड मिड कैप या वॉट एवर इट्स जो भी आता है. So you will have advantage of both, comparing this to this. And Mirai is very good, and they have come out in the right time to accept future subscriptions. So most of you can, if you are not already exposed to Mirai, can take a long-term SIP exposure to this, or STP also, depending upon your rank. All right. Amit wanted to ask something. Yes, please.
Yeah. Hello, Rajiv sir, and good afternoon, everyone. Sir, small query कि जैसे as you said कि one scheme you just keep it up to 75 lakhs. तो अगर ऐसे 3 स्कीम हो गए हैं, 4 स्कीम हो गए हैं, and you have covered all the bases with your gold, debt, arbitrage, all those things. Do you recommend कि जैसे last 10 overs में, last 5 overs में होता है ना कि pinch hitter, something for a quick gain thing, not a quick gain, I mean in gambling or something, but something to speed up
growth.
Exactly. When you have covered all the bases.
उसी के लिए मैंने वो बोला है वैल्यू एंड कॉन्ट्रा, मैंने उसी के लिए बोले थे. और जैसे कुछ आता रहता है ना, देन आई ऑलवेज शेयर इट. जैसे जो जस्ट बिफोर द लॉकडाउन इन 2019, one ICICI Opportunities Fund had come out. It is definitely a thematic fund. So I had shared it. That time we used to have our group on WhatsApp. So I had shared it that I'm starting to invest in that. I normally reveal it after some time when I see that the fund is all right. Because it's a long time, so it's not that if you start investing after 3 months, it makes a difference. But I'm in a situation to take a bit of risk and shocks and all that. But I expect that if I tell something and other person suffers a loss, then he somehow feels, kind of disturbed. So ऐसे कुछ funds आते रहते हैं with time to time, which are not really NFOs. They are brought out, they are retermed or something. So we will keep discussing them. But this contra fund or the value fund which we are talking about, SBI also has a contra fund, Kotak also has, Investco also has, ICICI is called a value discovery fund. So means same thing. Contra is when you are going opposite to the market trends. Everybody is piling up behind the runners, people who are going by momentum. But contra means this fellow wants to buy value, a good stock at low price, and he wants to wait. So such funds may not do well when the market is running, but they may do well when the market is not running with the other things. But you don't have to worry when you are thinking of 5-6 years, it will happen. And let me tell you one more thing. When you have already made allocation and you have reached 4-5 CR, I'll tell you one thing which is very difficult to believe. One becomes a little complacent. One becomes so lazy that you don't even want to see a portfolio. And when that happens, that is the time you're making most money. And when you're making most money, you become more lazy. Because जब तक आपके 5 करोड़ बनेंगे ना, आप इतना कुछ मतलब you would have completed most of your wishes, most God willing सब पूरी हो, सबकी पूरी हो, और सब आपकी जरूरत, आपकी हैबिट बन चुकी होगी. How much you can spend? You will be able to, you will be in a situation to buy a 60 lakh car, but you say, why bother? Because you've been driving a 20 lakh car for the rest of your life, or even a 10 lakh car. There is a very good investor who is not attending today, but few months ago he came to meet me after Vipassana, and he was still driving a 13-year-old car, and he's already completed his retirement purpose. So वो हमारी habit बन जाती है, and suddenly we cannot change and become, we keep hearing the stories about these billionaires. Like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's wealth was much more than his partner's. Even though his partner actually encouraged him and to open this firm, the Berkshire Hathaway, but that wasn't the case, So the thing is, our habits become such, and at that stage, you will not go in for looking for something which is giving you scintillating returns. You will be more in the habit of staying with what you have and thinking that maybe what I said, because I will definitely not be alive by then, but you'll be thinking, यार उसने 75 lakhs कहा था, but आज तो 75 lakhs की कोई value ही नहीं है. You see, 75 lakhs I am saying today in 2024 and 2030 this may seem very less, and you may have to up this figure to 1 crore in one fund, and imagine having 6 funds. Calculator खरीदो बड़े वाला. Right?
But that way, I think we should not go into that trap where we don't spend. We should make a balance advantage.
Certainly. See, I personally can say I've never missed out on anything in life. When I used to come back on leave, we used to take the holidays. We used to go wherever we could. Most of the time we were traveling, whether by our own vehicle or whether by what. But like when my daughter was appearing for a class 10th, ICSE has this picture questions in history. They give you a picture and they say, what is this picture of, where it is. This particular questions are there in ICSE. It's more in the up north. So she said that there is still to come any picture where she has not visited. Means there was no picture in that history question where she had never visited. So this is important. The best learning that we can get for ourselves and our children is by traveling or buying whatever you want. I'm not saying don't do it, because that is also cheating yourself, But yes, we do have to draw a line. If we manage with a OnePlus that time, or do we need to buy a iPhone, or do we need to buy an iPhone every 1 year or 2 years? These are all the lines that we have to draw. I am definitely against people becoming stingy or whatever. But yes, it is very important to collect this corpus as early as possible. your retirement corpus, as we name it. We have good times ahead, but when one cannot always be very careless, one has to be cautious that this tide can turn anytime. So let's have that state as early as possible. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? I think. Then I think we can take a break a little early today, if we all are done.
Sir, can you suggest me a fund manager from this fund managers that you have shared on the group?
Which fund?
Which one should I select? Fund manager, sir. Fee only based fund advisors.
Fee advisor. Actually, this fee advisor was shared to me by Mohit only, who's here, Captain Mohit Jain. So I'll share his name directly to you because I can't do it on the group. So he said he's good, and somebody had also suggested to me one from Chennai. So those were there. I'll suggest that. I'll send that message to you. Please send me a message on WhatsApp or Telegram, and I'll send this thing. अभिनव शर्मा, अनिल यादव, बोलो जी। पहले ये बताओ, तुमने अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट शुरू की या नहीं की, या खाली सवाल पूछे आ रहे हो? अभिनव, हेलो। हाँ जी, बताइए। बोलो भाई। Abhinav, you have raised a hand and I can't hear you.
फ्रीज हो गया सर वो।
हाँ, मेरे को लग रहा है ऐसे ठंड ज्यादा है वहां पर। हाँ भाई, बताइए अभिनव।
अच्छा सर, वो मैं मंडी जा रहा था फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए, तो मैं ये सोच रहा था कि जेएम फ्लेक्सी कैप और पराग पारिक फ्लेक्सी कैप में मैंने थोड़ा कंपैरिजन किया था। एयूएम तो पराग में ज्यादा है, लेकिन जेएम फ्लेक्सी कैप बाकी सारे पैरामीटर्स में थोड़ा आगे दिखाएंगे। तो शुड आई
आप दोनों में कर दो। मैंने आपको पहले भी लिखा है कि पराग पारिक में एक एडवांटेज है दैट यू आर गेटिंग द ओनरशिप ऑफ 30% फॉरेन स्टॉक्स ऑल्सो।
अभी से 16% हो गया
है, 16 पे नीचे आ गया थोड़ा सा। तो अभी क्या है कि अगर इफ यू आर हैप्पी विद जेएम, यू कैन डू इट। With Parag Parekh, you cannot go to the office because it is only in Mumbai. They don't have anywhere else, so you can do it online. आप JM से शुरू कर लो, absolutely fine, ठीक है ना?
So can I ask something in
हाँ जी।
सर एक सेकंड, अभिनव, जस्ट अ सेकंड। सर दोनों फंड्स बहुत पुराने हैं, लेकिन अब क्या हो रहा है कि पराग पारिक जब हमने स्टार्ट किया तो 3,500 करोड़ का एयूएम था,
अभी 54,000 का है,
अभी सर 77,000 करोड़ का एयूएम। तो अब क्या होगा कि 77,000 करोड़ का एयूएम है, तो कहीं ना कहीं मतलब हम यदि अगले 10 साल के लिए सोचें या 15 साल के लिए सोचें, तो आई थिंक वी कैन ऐड इन जेएम फ्लेक्सी कैप इसके साथ, बिकॉज थोड़ा सा फिर हमारे रिटर्न्स अगले 10 साल 15 साल थोड़ा तो बाय डिफॉल्ट सफर करेंगे।
See, why he is talking about JM is because he has seen that JM has the best returns for 1 year, 2 years।
मैंने बोला था अभी इसी को।
अच्छा, तो अभी ऐसा है, ऐसे कहने के लिए तो HDFC फ्लेक्सी कैप इज गुड, फ्रैंकलिन फ्लेक्सी कैप is good, DSP flexi cap is also good. The returns may vary a little, but you see, you have to backtrack one thing also, that why their AUM has not gone up. JM is a fund which I have been investing from 2001. I used to invest in a JM fund in 2001. क्यों नहीं बढ़ा इसका AUM? ये एक सोचने वाली बात है ना? नहीं
सर, क्या रीजन होगा, आप ही बता दें।
भाई मैं क्यों बताऊं, मैं यार इतनी डिटेल में तो नहीं करता। मेरे को ये पता है यार, बिजनेस इतने टाइम से उसका है, नाम उसका है, बट व्हाई इज AUM नॉट ग्रोइंग? ऐसा क्यों है कि क्वांट का AUM एक साल में बढ़ गया?
सर मोनोपोली
पराग पारिक का देखिए, डिस्पाइट अंडर परफॉर्मेंस की बात हो रही है। ये एक बात को मान लेते हैं। देखिए, पराग पारिक का शुरुआत क्यों हुई? पराग पारिक की शुरुआत इसलिए की गई थी, बातचीत करने के लिए, रिटर्न्स के बेसिस पे नहीं की गई थी, टू स्टार्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट। That time doing KYC 5-6 years was a little less difficult, and you could sit on the screen and just start off, and the investment would start after 3 days. The situation has not improved, it has become worse now. The KYC is the biggest impediment for a new investor. मेरा पॉइंट तो ये है कि आप इन्वेस्ट तो करो, आपको सेक्टर फंड में करना, आप सेक्टर फंड में कर लो, एटलीस्ट केवाईसी तो हो जाएगा। मैं तो कह रहा हूं आप डेट फंड में करो इन्वेस्ट, जाके किसी के थ्रू भी, किसी भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के थ्रू, किसी को पकड़ के बैंक के थ्रू जाके को भाई मेरे को, तेरे पास कौन सा फंड है, ये वाला है, चल मेरे को लिक्विड फंड में इन्वेस्ट करना है। अरे केवाईसी तो होगा, उसके बाद में आप इन्वेस्टमेंट तो शुरू करोगे। सी लाइक आई सेड, देयर आर, आई टुक द नेम ऑफ 15 AMCs। हमारे काम के हर एक में 5 से 6 फंड होते हैं, लार्ज कैप, लार्ज एंड मिड कैप, स्मॉल कैप, मिड कैप, फ्लेक्सी कैप, ये 5 होते हैं। 16 5 90 फंड्स में हमें सिलेक्शन बहुत मुश्किल होता है, राइट। तो हमें तो ये है कि यार तू 25 साल से है ना, हम तेरे साथ रहेंगे,
बराबर।
तेरा ऊपर जाता है नीचे HDFC फ्लेक्सी कैप का पहले 50,000 भी, 35,000 करोड़ भी गया था, 66,000 करोड़ भी, अभी उसका मिड कैप अपॉर्चुनिटी ज्यादा चला गया है AUM। I don't keep a track of all these parameters.
सर अभी आप एक्चुअली नहीं करते, हम लोग थोड़ा करते हैं। फ्लेक्सी कैप वापस 60,000 पे भाग गया है, तो बट द थिंग इज लाइक, ये बात सही है, बट यदि हम अगले 10 साल 15 साल के लिए सोचें, 15 साल के लिए, तो थोड़ा सा मतलब पराग पारिक हैज बीन अ गुड फंड। अब क्या वो 75 लाख क्रॉस हो गया, आप 75 लाख पे रिडीम तो किया नहीं, वो धीरे धीरे भाग गया है पराग पारिक। दैट इज व्हाई आई एडेड जेएम फ्लेक्सी कैप इनटू इट।
No. You can, like I said, start with one fund at least. आप शुरू तो करो। अगर पहले फंड में ये सोचते रहेंगे इसमें या उसमें, तो एक कहावत है हमारे गांव में जो होती है पुरानी, मालूम है ना? बराबर। ज्यादा नहीं बोलता हूँ मैं, इतना बोल। The idea is to start off somewhere and think about in the second fund. अरे क्या होगा कि अगर इसने 6 महीने अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं किया तो बंद कर देंगे, नहीं डालेंगे और दूसरे में चले जाएंगे। मतलब there are so many choices we have, but the idea here, see, the idea of FinWorld is not to get you the best returns. The idea is not to take you to that stage. The idea is to help you start. उसके बाद तो आप खुद चले जाते हो ना। भाई देखो, हमारे यहाँ पर एक बड़ी अच्छी कहानी आती है विपश्यना में, 10th डे सुनाते हैं। कहते हैं कि माँ ने बड़े ध्यान से, बड़े अच्छे से दूध को घोट के, चावल डाल के खीर बनाई, उसमें इलायची डाली। तो बच्चा कहता है कि नहीं खाऊंगा। क्यों नहीं खाएगा? मेरे बर्तन में नहीं है, मेरे कटोरे में नहीं है। He says, it's not in my bowl. Okay, she pours it in his bowl. Okay, now have it. He said, no, I will not have it. Why will you not have it? Because it has stones in it. काले काले पत्थर है उसमें। कि बेटा ये पत्थर नहीं है, ये इलायची है, इसका भी अपना टेस्ट होता है, तो खा के तो देख। कि नहीं खाऊंगा। तो मांगा करते हैं कि ठीक है, ये काले काले जो पत्थर है ये निकाल देती हूं मैं, अब तो खा ले। तो वो खाता है नहीं खाता है वो उसके ऊपर है। बहुत सारे हैं जो नहीं खाते हैं। आपने कहा आपके पात्र में जेएम फ्लेक्सी कह, अरे भैया उसी में शुरू कर लो, करो तो सही। एक और कहानी बताते हैं वो ऐसे ही, कि मैं ठंड में बैठा हुआ हूं यहाँ पर आपके सामने, ये शर्ट पहने हुए, बाहर बर्फ पड़ी हुई है, और मैं आपको यहाँ पर अपने हैरिस स्ट्रीट के ब्लेजर के बारे में बताऊं। कितना बढ़िया ब्लेजर है, क्या फर्स्ट क्लास ब्लेजर है, ऐसे सिला हुआ है, रेमंड ने ऐसे सिला था, पर पहन नहीं रहा हूं मैं उसे। ये हमारे लाइफ के हर वॉक में होता है। वी टॉक अबाउट थिंग्स दैट वी आर नॉट कनेक्टेड विद, दैट वी हैव नो इंटरेस्ट विद। हमें अपना फोकस थोड़ा सा छोटा रखना चाहिए। फोकस क्या है? टू ओवरकम द इन्फ्लेशन दैट वी आर अर्निंग विद। We are earning for only 6 to 8 months. Seniors are earning for 6 months, the juniors are earning for 8 months. We cannot put everything here. एग्जाम भी देने हैं, एग्जाम देने के अलावा उस समय खर्च भी होंगे, माँ बाप पकड़ के शादी भी कर देंगे, बीवी ज्वेलरी भी मांगेगी, ट्रिप भी मांगेगी, हॉलीडे भी करेंगे, सब कुछ उसी में होना होता है जब तक आप चीफ ऑफिसर बनते हो, जब तक आप सेकेंड ईयर बनते हो। प्रॉब्लम्स तो वहां पे आ गए ना। तो इसके पहले कि वो भैया शुरू कर दो, कम से कम 1000 के लाख तो हो जाए, कम से कम लाख के 5 लाख तो हो जाए, हो तो सही। इससे हो रहे हैं, उससे हो रहे हैं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। अगर मैं अपना देखना शुरू करूं ना, मेरे 26 साल में मैंने कितने फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट किया है, मेरे ख्याल 5-6 पे में जाएगा। उसी फंड से 10 साल पहले निकल के उसी फंड में दोबारा पहुंच जाऊंगा। आप क्या सोच रहे हैं? मुझे याद रहता है। हाफ ऑफ द टाइम आई एम इन्वेस्टिंग बिकॉज ऑफ यू पीपल, बिकॉज यू आस्क मी। So I have to find out about that. Now you cannot say that this fund is good, इसका return 6 साल में अच्छा है, इसका ये अच्छा है. No, I have to see the feasibility, that how easy it is to invest. I ask my distributor, इसे सर इसमें इन्वेस्ट ही नहीं करते, हम तो बात ही नहीं करते. Like I am dead against UTI for no other reason that UTI committed the biggest fraud. Of course, this is not the same company. It has been split. One has formed another thing, but these people have committed one of the biggest fraud in independent India and cheated all the middle class people in form of US 64. Suddenly एक दिन मालूम पड़ा कि इसकी NAV 65 रुपए नहीं है, सिर्फ 65 पैसे है. Suddenly, अब आप लोग पता नहीं कितने लोग पैदा भी नहीं हुए थे 2000 में, but this was the status. तो अब मेरे को तो ऐसी चीज जिसका कहीं भी दूर दूर का कनेक्शन गवर्नमेंट से होता है, मुझे कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. मेरी वाइफ ने कभी किसान विकास पत्र खरीदे होंगे, भगवान का बहुत शुक्र हुआ वो खो गए, तो दोबारा खरीदने की हिम्मत ही नहीं पड़ी, किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं. पीपीएफ के अलावा आई एम नॉट कनेक्टेड टू गवर्नमेंट इन एनी फॉर्म. फोन आते हैं बैंक से, सर यू बिकम अ सीनियर सिटीजन, वी आर ऑफरिंग 0.5% मोर. आई सेड आई विल गिव यू 4% मोर, आप मुझे अपना पैसा दे दो. आप 0.5 दे रहे हो, मैं आपको 5% ज्यादा दे दूंगा. The point is this, you cannot deal. अपना फोकस छोटा रखो, इमीडिएट रखो. Don't go too much in future. अभी है ना हमारे पास एक फ्लेक्सी कैप जो आपके आसपास हो. जेएम का आपके पास में ऑफिस है, आपके लुधियाना में है ऑफिस है तो ठीक, नहीं तो जो भी है एसबीआई का है, एसबीआई कॉन्ट्रा में शुरू कर दो. अरे एसबीआई डेट फंड में शुरू कर दो. लिक्विड फंड के नाम से हर एक के पास में एक लिक्विड फंड है, उसी में डालो, शुरू तो करो. डिस्कस नहीं. अगली बार एक क्वेश्चन में 10 रुपए लूंगा, बहुत महंगा हूं मैं. ठीक है, ओके. हाँ मनीष बताएं.
या गुड इवनिंग सर.
मनीष यू रेज योर हैंड.
यस सर, गुड इवनिंग सर.
जी गुड इवनिंग.
सर आई जस्ट वांटेड टू आस्क कि जैसे आपने अभी बताया कि यूटीआई म्यूचुअल फंड NAV has fallen down from 65 rupees to 65 paisa in 2000.
That was when it was in the hand of the government. That time mutual funds were not in this form the way they are today. और उसकी NAV रोज डिक्लेयर भी नहीं होती थी, कभी 2-3 महीने में एक बार होती थी. ये जो वैल्यू रिसर्च के वीरेंद्र कुमार हैं, ये उनके ऑफिस में जाकर खुद कैलकुलेट करते थे NAV. तब कभी वो कहीं डिस्प्ले नहीं होती थी वो NAV. Of course, they were the front runners for the mutual funds, but they were from the private sector side over the government, with government having stake. बड़ा complicated था.
No,
in
sir,
1993.
My question is not that. Sir, my question is not that. My question is that say there are two types of funds are there. One is active fund and one is passive fund. So if I invest in passive fund, say UTI के passive fund में मैं invest करता हूँ, so if means UTI itself goes bankrupt or something goes wrong with it, तो index fund का तो मतलब कि वो NAV कम नहीं आएगा ना.
एक्चुअली आज की डेट में एक्टिव फंड का भी यूटीआई की बैंक्रप्सी से कुछ लेना देना नहीं होगा, नहीं होगा, बिकॉज उसका रीजन है.
बट इफ यू सी कि क्वांटम फंड जो ये क्वांटम म्यूचुअल फंड है, इसका तो मतलब NAV डाउन हो गया था जब ये इसका फ्रंट रनिंग का केस आया.
नहीं देखो, ऐसे तो सभी का हो सकता है, कभी ना कभी सभी का हो जाता है. एक्सिस का भी हुआ था, एक्सिस का भी फ्रंट रनिंग का केस था, पता नहीं उसके फंड्स क्यों नहीं वापस आ पाए. ऐसा कोई बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट नहीं था. दे हैड thousands and thousands crores of in their AUM, but still focus fund was not able to do better. The small cap is doing better. ऐसा ही केस फ्रंट रनिंग का HDFC का भी हुआ था. दे इमर्ज्ड. पॉइंट इज, कंपनी एक कंपनी होती है, उसके अपने एसेट्स होते हैं. ये जो हम पैसा दे रहे हैं ये उसके एसेट्स एक्चुअल नहीं है, ये उनके वर्किंग कैपिटल है. when you invest, this money goes into the bank account of that scheme. ऐसा नहीं है सारा पैसा एक साथ उनका कलेक्ट हो जाता है. अगर आपने फ्लेक्सी कैप में इन्वेस्ट किया है, इट विल गो इनटू दैट ABC फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड बैंक अकाउंट, और लार्ज कैप बैंक अकाउंट, और इंडेक्स फंड बैंक अकाउंट. they will not be able to move it from here to there. अभी ना आप कैमरा बंद कर लो, थोड़ा डिस्ट्रैक्शन हो रहा है, आप बार बार जा रहे हो उठ के. तो इस तरह से ऐसा नहीं है कि उसकी वजह से आपको कोई फर्क पड़ने वाला है. जैसे मैं आपको बताता हूं, अभी L&T म्यूचुअल फंड क्लोज डाउन. दे डिसाइडेड दैट दे कैन नॉट कंटिन्यू, सो दे क्लोज डाउन. ऐसे पहले भी गोल्डमैन सैक्स आए थे, वो आने के पहले ही बंद कर गए थे. Pioneer Mutual Fund was there, one of the oldest. Kothari Pioneer was one of the oldest mutual funds, the first mutual fund in India. They also closed shop. से होता है, but that does not affect the scheme. The mutual fund company or AMC has to find another buyer. उसकी AMC जब डाउन होगी ना, तो वो कभी भी किसी और रीजन से नहीं होगी एक्सेप्ट द मार्केट.
हाँ, वही मैं
एक्सेप्ट द
सोच रहा था
मार्केट.
कि see, उसने भी एक
लेकिन जो यूटीआई का हुआ था ना, जो मैं रीजन आपको बताया, एग्जाम्पल साल भी सुनो, दैट हैपेंड इन प्री 2000 एरा which continued up to 2000 2001.
Yes, sir.
That time the NAVs were not declared like today. Today you can get the NAV at 11 o'clock at night. That time they were not declared like this. There is an article somewhere on Value Research by Dhirendra Kumar where he explains all these things. वो टाइम ट्रांसपेरेंसी का नहीं था. अभी तो कोई हिम्मत नहीं कर सकता. आज ही उसने आईसीआईसीआई ने कहा है कि उसके जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज फंड है उसका द एक्सपेंस रेशियो इज गोइंग टू बी इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 0.44 टू 0.46. 0.02% के लिए वो हमें मेल भेज रहा है. तो वो लोग तो 10% के उसमें भी कुछ नहीं करते थे. तो पॉइंट ऑफ माई ब्रिंगिंग अप दिस पर्टिकुलर कंपनी यूटीआई, और आई डिड नॉट इवन टेक द नेम ऑफ एलआईसी, इज दिस. Because the mindset has not changed. I am seeing the same people working in the UTI office. Despite the company undergoing a change, I am still seeing the same people in the office. तो उनका mindset तो change नहीं होगा ना. After all, you are concerned with the people working there also, no? And we don't even know what kind of people are working in their team. They have very good performance with some debt funds or government bond in NPS because they have the first opportunity to buy any government bond. UTI gets the opportunity और LIC gets the opportunity. वो हमारे डिस्कशन का टॉपिक नहीं है. यहां पर जब डाउनटर्न आएगा मार्केट में तो सब का बराबर ही बराबर गिरेंगे. बहुत ज्यादा कम होगा, 1-2% आएगा.
जस्ट मतलब मेरा पूछने का मतलब ये था कि यदि कल को कोई भी एएमसी इफ इट परफॉर्म्स बैड और कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है उसके साथ, मान लो कि समथिंग गोज रॉन्ग, तो एनएवी इफेक्ट होता है क्या? मतलब एनएवी, हाउ एनएवी गेट इफेक्टेड? उसने तो कुछ स्टॉक्स खरीद कर रख दिया तो उसके हिसाब से एनएवी स्टॉक्स
नहीं, अगर इफ दे आर डूइंग, if they have any wrongdoing on their part in any particular stock which was sold at a lower price than the higher price, so naturally it will show up in the end result. जैसा आपने अभी बताया कि अभी इसके साथ हुआ था, ये क्वांट के साथ में कहा गया है, या इसके पहले एक्सिस के साथ हुआ था 2 साल पहले या 2.5 साल पहले. सो ऐसा कुछ होता है तो उससे इफेक्ट हो सकता है, बट दैट इज व्हाट SEBI इज डूइंग with its different kind of algorithms. It is keeping a track on all the mutual funds and their schemes and their fund managers, and not only fund managers, all the people of equity research team, the dealer. Mutual fund में क्या होता है? They don't only have the fund manager, they have a equity research team also, right? And this equity research team does the research, gives the results to the fund manager or his junior, and then the fund manager together with, after discussion with the different people, then they say, okay, we will buy this script, and they give this to the dealer who is in a segregated room to this dealer, and this dealer says, okay, I will buy as you say, and then he buys this thing. Now if this dealer buys before the mutual fund has bought it for, he has bought for the mutual fund, definitely the price of that script has gone up. Or if he has sold before the mutual fund sells, then the price of the stock has gone down. So this will definitely get built into it. But otherwise their dealings are pretty straight. They are one of the most transparent people who can do things and who are doing things, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Does it answer your question?
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Right. और कोई भैया? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
हाँ बन.
Sir, sorry, my internet was disconnected. वो सर Nifty 50 में जो मेरी query थी, Nifty 50 and Flexi Cap. So what I understood was to stop fresh investment in Nifty 50 and divide that amount equally between multi-cap and another Flexi Cap.
That is correct. That is very correct. बिल्कुल मैंने यही कहा था. Right. और अगर आपके पास में, because you are at the right rank, आप एक काम और कर सकते हैं. If you can start a small investment, yes Kunal, I will take you up after this. if you can start a fresh investment of very small amount, only 5,000, 10,000 in Grow Total Market Index Fund. This you will have to go on the website, or I think it's with CAMS or Capintech. You can start investing this. Just try it out, track it for some time, and then share your results with us. Right? This is something which could actually in future become one of the major funds, if which all the AMCs will have to start something of this type. This is a very important parameter which has come to my notice just 3-4 months ago. And you can, if you want, you can just allocate 5,000 rupees a month and see how it moves. Okay? Kunal, long time.
Sir, what is the name of the fund?
Grow Nifty Total Market Index Fund. I will share the screenshot of this in the money control thing, and then you'll be able to track it on money control also. Kunal? Long time no see.
हाँ जी, लॉन्ग टाइम नो सी। एक्चुअली पहला एक क्वेश्चन है सर कि वैसे आप सजेस्ट करते हो ना, जैसे एक एएमसी में मैक्सिमम लेट्स से 1 CR के ऊपर आप नहीं करो, मतलब 1 कैन डाइवर्सिफाई, बट मतलब ऐसी एक बात चल रही थी, अब जैसे पराग पारिक है मेरा, उसमें तो ऑलरेडी 1 CR क्रॉस कर रहा है, तो उसमें अभी क्या मतलब आई नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई बिकॉज इट्स परफॉर्मिंग वेल, मतलब मेरे को तो लगता है, मतलब कॉन्फिडेंट एनफ उनकी एंड जो उनकी फिलॉसफी है उससे भी क्या कहता है, एग्री विद देम।
Tomorrow you have a coffee with Mohit and tell him performing and how it is not. देखो भाई, ऐसा है, बात ये है कि why do we say that आप एक लिमिट रखो? उसका रीजन यही है कि सपोज टुमारो यू नीड टू मेक अ शिफ्ट, सपोज, तो एक लिमिट होनी चाहिए जिसमें आप कैपिटल गेन्स को हैंडल कर सको। अभी आपका 1 हो गया है, ठीक है ना, अब इसके ऊपर उसको खुद बढ़ने दो, राइट? इफ इट हैज यू शिफ्ट टू अनदर मल्टी कैप और फ्लेक्सी कैप, व्हाट्स द हार्म, है ना?
हाँ, आप सही बोल रहे हैं, जैसे आजकल अभी जेएम फ्लेक्सी है, डूइंग वेल, तो मतलब उसका ओवरलैप देखिए।
आप थोड़ा सा बाद में आए आप, तो उसके पहले यही डिस्कशन हो रहा था जेएम का। तो जेएम कर सकते हैं, फ्रैंकलिन, डीएसपी, और they are range of it. HDFC, one of the earlier ones in the space. In fact, I'll tell you, my investment in equity mutual funds started with what we call today as flexi cap funds.
HDFC flexi cap.
HDFC flexi cap and DSP opportunities fund.
Just for everybody's information, मतलब मैंने ऐसी उसमें एक टेस्ट पोर्टफोलियो बना के डाला था HDFC flexi cap का, बिकॉज आपने कई बार उसके बारे में बात करी थी, देन आई न्यू कि वो बहुत पहले से है। तो 2001 में लेट्स से आई जस्ट मतलब इनपुट एक रैंडम वैल्यू ऑफ 3 CR, एंड यू वोंट बिलीव अभी उसकी कितनी वैल्यू होगी। वो इट्स ऑलमोस्ट नाउ 300 CR, ऑलमोस्ट 300 CR।
2000 में 1 CR तो मेरे पास भी नहीं था, तो
नहीं 3 CR, सॉरी 3 CR in 2001, if you put 3 CR it's now 300 CR, मतलब उसका मैंने पूरा वो ग्राफ देखा।
हाँ, नहीं वो है। सी, अब अगर वही बात कर रहे हैं, अगर हम निप्पो ग्रोथ की बात करें जो पहले रिलायंस ग्रोथ था, इट वुड बी मच मोर, बट द पॉइंट इज लाइक लेट्स मूव अहेड। हमारा जो आइडिया है ना, और आप अपना भी दिमाग लगाइए, यू शुड यूज योर डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑल्सो, डाइवर्सिफाई योर रिस्क। ये मत सोचो आज जो ठीक चल रहा है वो कल भी ठीक चलेगा। यहां तक हो गया ना, नाउ लेट्स डाइवर्सिफाई विद द कंपनी, डाइवर्सिफाई विद द सेक्टर, डाइवर्सिफाइड विद द मार्केट कैप, डाइवर्सिफाई विद द फंड मैनेजर, डाइवर्सिफाई करिए, ठीक है ना?
बट देन नॉर्मली जैसे आप भी सजेस्ट करते हैं, या आप धीरेन्द्र जी की बात भी सुनेंगे, तो ये अगर आप मतलब 5-6 फंड से ज्यादा जाते हैं तो वो कहते हैं ओवर डाइवर्सिफिकेशन हो जाता है। तो हम
कौन कह रहे हैं? किसके बारे में सुनेंगे? वो जिनकी बात करते हैं उनके 2 करोड़ का टोटल जिंदगी भर का कॉर्पस होता है।
सही बात है सर।
जितनी जिसको आप कहते हैं ना कि सर मैं SIP रख लूं या लमसम करूं, जितने को आप SIP बोलते हैं उनमें वो लमसम बोलते हैं, है ना? जितने की आपकी SIP होती है ना, उतने की उनकी लमसम होता है। तो इसी आर रिक्वायरमेंट्स आर डिफरेंट। मैंने आज तक आपसे ये पूछा है आपकी सैलरी कितनी है, आपका पैसा कितना है? मैं तो नहीं पूछता ना। आज तक पूछा है कि बैंक में कितना पैसा है? लोग ही बताते हैं कि मेरा इतना है। मैं तो मुझे पता है। आई एम नॉट इवन कंसर्न्ड विद व्हाट यू हैव अर्न्ड, आई एम ओनली कंसर्न्ड विद व्हाट यू विल अर्न, एंड फॉर दैट यू डोंट हैव टू टेल मी। Only when a person says, I have 50 lakhs to invest, what should I do with it? How should I do with it? Then I say, okay, now let's go with the STP thing and all that. But I am only interested in the future.
हाँ जी,
I am not interested in the past.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी। और सर एक और चीज था, ये अपना जैसे हम एसटीपी डालते हैं, तो एसटीपी में ये टैक्सेशन जो होता है, मतलब मेरे को ना एनआरआई का थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन है, मतलब इवन दो आई विल गो
रिफंड होता है, रिफंड होता है, ये रिफंड होता
क्या
है।
क्या रिफंड होता है टीडीएस की, मतलब वो जो मतलब वो है टैक्स ब्रैकेट वाला है, वो लगता है क्या, कैसे होता है?
हाँ, हम अभी यही बात कर रहे थे, आपने थोड़ा सा लेट ज्वाइन किया था। ये भी डेट का जो टैक्सेशन है ये लगातार चेंज करते हैं। ये 23 अप्रैल में चेंज किया, विच वाज सपोज टू बी इनफोर्स फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल 24। अभी उसको उन्होंने फिर चेंज कर दिया था जुलाई में। तो अभी थोड़ा सा रुक जाइए। पहले वाला जो टैक्सेशन था वो तो सिंपल था, इट वाज एडेड, शॉर्ट टर्म्स वाज एडेड टू योर इनकम एंड लॉन्ग टर्म वाज टैक्स्ड एट विद इंडेक्सेशन। वो भी खत्म कर दिया। फिर इन्होंने कहा दैट इट विल बी एडेड टू योर इनकम ओनली। तो वो तो हमारे लिए बहुत ही अच्छा था, बिकॉज हमारा कैपिटल गेन्स शॉर्ट टर्म हो या लॉन्ग टर्म हो, वो 7 लाख होने के लिए यू वुड हैव टू रिडीम 1 करोड़ मिनिमम। कौन करने वाला है 1 करोड़ रिडीम भाई, है ना? अब इन्होंने कहा कुछ और कहा है। अब वो एक्चुअली में अप्रूव हुआ है पार्लियामेंट में या नहीं, वी हैव टू वेट फॉर इट। आई एम वेटिंग फॉर ऑफिशियल कंफर्मेशन बिफोर आई टेल पीपल, बिकॉज एंड बिफोर दैट आई विल ऑल्सो से प्लीज वेट फॉर द नेक्स्ट बजट। इनका भरोसा कुछ नहीं है, अगले फरवरी में आगे क्या बोलते हैं कुछ भरोसा नहीं है। वी आर ऑलरेडी सिटिंग ऑन 1 September, so 4 months of this month and 1 month of next. After 5 months they will again get a chance to say what they want, right? So the point is, forget about that, forget about taxation. अभी तो आप ये देखो कि why did I go for STP? इसका मैंने बड़ा डिटेल्ड एक्सप्लेनेशन बार बार ग्रुप में डाला है, मैथमेटिकल भी डाला है, टेक्स्ट में भी डाला है कि देखो तो सही। मैं तो ये कहता हूं कि जो जो पैसा आपका स्पेयर में पड़ा हुआ है वो एवरी डे इट शुड अर्न, every day it should earn, every night it should earn, it should earn on Saturday and Sunday also. You get the point, and it should earn substantial.
once you reach that level, then आपको दिखता है वो compounding effect, then you realize what you had missed. मतलब मतलब for some certain reason I had to stop my क्या कहते हैं SIP for some time, and आप believe नहीं करोगे, मैं extra पैसा डाल रहा हूँ ना, फिर भी मैं cope up नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ उसको। तो
आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, आप बहुत अच्छे हैं। There are people on this group, I mean, attending here, and people who are not attending here, who have actually redeemed their holdings in the lockdown. और आज ऐसे ऐसे दोनों हाथ से मारते हैं, ऐसे करके बारी बारी से ऐसे करके।
अरे सर, लॉकडाउन में तो मैं शिफ्ट था, मौका नहीं मिला। वो
मनीष नायर, जस्ट अ मोमेंट, विल गो टू मनीष नाउ। हाँ मनीष बताइए, योर हैंड इज अप।
हाँ भैया, so sorry, Kunal was just asking about the same question, I believe, कि एक फंड में अगर 1 CR हो गया उसका, so that was the only reason, LTCG was the only reason why we should not be doing it beyond that?
No, not LTCG only. It was also like tomorrow, if suppose you need to shift that fund, तो एक लिमिट होनी चाहिए ना। आप भी सोचो, आप खुद सोचो, आपका एक VLCC है, राइट? जब आप केमिकल टैंकर पे हैं, आपका मनूवरिंग बड़ी सिंपल होती है, यहां से निकल गए, वहां से निकल गए, यहां से निकल गए। थोड़ा सा आप सुएज मैक्स में चले गए तो थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाता है। नाउ इमेजिन यू आर ऑन अ VLCC एंड यू वांट टू चेंज कोर्स, कैसे कैसे निकालोगे, कहां कहां से निकालोगे? आप कहोगे यार ये तो 20% तो इसी में बैठा हुआ हूं मैं, अब इसको चेंज कैसे करूं?
कर सकते हैं काम, VLCC हैंड्स तो कर सकते हैं काम।
हाँ जी
सर, जो VLCC हैंड है वो तो कर सकते हैं।
वो तो सुपरिटेंडेंट है यार, वो तो कुछ भी कर सकता है। ओके दिनेश, योर क्वेश्चन। मनीष, does that answer your question?
Right sir, I got your point.
और एक मैं और बात बता रहा हूं, देखो, do not worry about the taxation when you are investing. Please do not worry about taxation when you are redeeming. तब की बात करो। और मैं कहता हूं कि आपको रिडीम करना ही नहीं है। You have your 65% सैलरी विद यू, उसको यूज करो। ज्यादा जरूरत है 1 महीना एक्स्ट्रा सेल कर लो, उसको टच नहीं करना है। सो डोंट इवन आस्क अबाउट टैक्सेशन। टैक्सेशन आप तब बात करना जब मैं मर जाऊंगा, जब आपको जरूरत पड़ेगी पैसे की। वी ओनली टॉक अबाउट दैट टाइम, ठीक है ना? अभी तो आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है, और इससे टैक्स एफिशिएंट मेथड कोई नहीं है। इट इज पॉसिबल दैट दिस मनी इन 2050 एंड यू टेक दिस आउट, दे विल नो LTCG। यू डोंट नो,
we don't know, right? ये तो आज की तारीख में है ना।
करेक्ट, राइट। ओके दिनेश जी, आप पूछ सकते हैं।
यस सर, गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
सर मुझे ये पूछना था सर, आपने एसटीपी का जो मेथड बताया ना वो थोड़ा सा क्लियर नहीं है कि सर डेप्थ फंड से हम लोग उसमें पार्क करके पैसे फिर उसी से हम लोग एक एसटीपी क्रिएट कर ले, तो हम लोग सर उस डेप्थ फंड की जगह इंडेक्स फंड में लमसम डाल के इफ यू वांट टू डाइवर्ट और डाइवर्ज कैन वी डू इन दैट वे सर? इंडेक्स फंड में अगर सारे पैसे डाल के एक फ्लेक्सी कैप
भाई
में
देखो ऐसा है, व्हाई वी सेलेक्टेड डेट फंड्स और पीपल हैव आल्सो सजेस्टेड व्हाई डोंट वी गो फॉर इक्विटी आर्बिट्राज। उसका एक रीजन है कि डेट फंड का जो टैक्सेशन था वो थोड़ा सा बेटर था, बिकॉज हमें तो रिडीम करना है रेगुलरली टू पुट इनटू द इक्विटी फंड टू डू टू मतलब एक्टिवेट द एसटीपी, यू हैव टू रेगुलरली मूव फ्रॉम देयर टू दिस फंड। दूसरा था कि डेट फंड्स में इक्विटी लोड नहीं होता, इक्विटी फंड्स में एक साल तक 1% इक्विटी लोड होता है, राइट। दूसरी बात, योर डेट फंड was supposed to act as your emergency fund. It was supposed to act as your liquid fixed deposit. आप आज पैसा निकालना चाहो, कल सुबह 6:45 तक पैसा आपके अकाउंट में है। इक्विटी फंड टेक्स 2 days, right? It was supposed to act as a source for your equity fund, for your STP, right? It was supposed to act for that also. But अगर आप उसमें इक्विटी फंड से दूसरे इक्विटी फंड में जा रहे हैं, इंडेक्स फंड से इसमें जा रहे हैं, तो आपको डालने की जरूरत ही क्या है? उसी में रह जाओ जिसमें हो। इंडेक्स फंड इज ऑल्सो गिविंग यू सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ रिटर्न। सो द आइडिया वाज दैट द डेट फंड और एनआरई एफडी विद सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी। एनआरई एफडी में 364 डेज पे आपको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं मिलेगा। यहां पर आपने फर्स्ट को डाला, 21st निकाल लिया, 21st को डाला आपने 5 तारीख को निकाल लिया, एग्जिट लोड नहीं है। थोड़ा बहुत कैपिटल गेन लगता है, बट डेट फंड में कैपिटल गेन इतना नहीं हुआ करता। एक साल में 7-8% निकालना है आपको। हाँ बताइए।
हाँ सर, मैं जो बोल रहा था एग्जिट लोड है ना सर, बिफोर 1 year इट इज 1% और आफ्टर 1 year देयर इज नो एग्जिट लोड। तो जो 1% है ना वो मार्जिन बहुत छोटा है सर। जो डेप्थ फंड का रिटर्न 6%, 7%, जबकि इसका अगर जनरल एवरेज रिटर्न 12-13%, तो हम लोग 1% को नेग्लेक्ट भी करते। देन आल्सो वी आर ऑन द
सर ऐसा है, आपने अभी 4 साल का हाई मार्केट देखा है। ये इक्विटी फंड ऐसे भी होते हैं जब डेट फंड से अंडर परफॉर्म करते हैं और 2-2 साल तक करते हैं। ये ऐसा नहीं होता कि हमेशा ही वो 14%, 15% देते रहेंगे या 25% जैसे आजकल देते रहेंगे। मैंने जो एसटीपी का एक मेथड बताया था वो इसलिए बताया था कि आपका इक्विटी और डेट का एलोकेशन अच्छे से रहता है, लिक्विडिटी बरकरार रहती है, फटाफट हो जाती है, देयर इज नो पेनल्टी एज सच। इफ यू फील कंफर्टेबल इन डूइंग फ्रॉम वन इक्विटी फंड टू अनदर इक्विटी फंड, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम, बट इट इज नॉट करेक्ट, इट इज नॉट अ फीजिबल मेथड। अभी आपने मार्केट गिरता हुआ तो देखा ही नहीं है ना। सपोज वो मार्केट जो 3-4 तारीख को गिरा था वो वहां से 2 दिन और गिर गया होता, आपके 12% नीचे आ गया था। ऐसा नहीं होता है। मैंने इस मार्केट में डेट फंड, इक्विटी फंड को फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म ऑफ फ्यू मंथ्स मैंने सेम परफॉर्म करते देखा है। फॉर 2 consecutive years from in 2008 the debt funds were outperforming the equity funds, मैंने देखा है। ठीक है ना? तो मैंने आपको बार बार, अगर आप ये शुरू से सुन रहे हैं बात, मैं आपसे एक बात कह रहा हूं, अपना रिस्क डाइवर्सिफाई रखो। जब मार्केट ऊपर होता है, टाइड ऊपर होता है, सब कुछ अच्छा होता है, बट व्हेन द टाइड गोज डाउन एंड द शिप इज डाउन, ऑल द वायर आर स्ट्रेच्ड। वायर स्लो लूज करने जाते हो ना, फिर केबल्स वायर फ्लैग करने जाते हो ना, चीफ ऑफिसर भी भागता है, सेकंड ऑफिसर भी भागता है, कैप्टन ऊपर से चिल्लाता है। तो वही सिचुएशन यहां पर भी है। जब टाइड नीचे आता है तब मालूम पड़ता है who was swimming naked। उस समय होता है कि I am a risk taker। Are you ready to accept a 50% fall in your portfolio? Are you ready to accept that? I have been ready to accept that. I have faced that. So my point here is, हमेशा से मैं एंड में एक बात कहता हूं, न हमारा गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से कोई प्रेम है, न हमारा म्यूचुअल फंड से कोई प्रेम है, न हमारा स्टॉक मार्केट से कोई प्रेम है। हमारा प्रेम इज ओनली विद द मनी दैट वी अर्न विद आवर हार्ड लेबर ऑन बोर्ड, एंड वी वांट दैट मनी नॉट ओनली सेव्ड बट ऑल्सो ग्रो with minimum of risk. We cannot eliminate the risk, so we will diversify the risk. We will diversify the risk by investing in small steps. स्प्रेड अक्रॉस द मंथ, स्प्रेड अक्रॉस द ईयर, स्प्रेड अक्रॉस द लाइफ। जब तक हम कमाते रहेंगे, हम इन्वेस्ट करते रहेंगे, वो बढ़ता रहेगा। सैलरी हमारी बराबर बढ़ी है, उसमें से यूज कर लो जहां भी यूज करना है आपको। मैं तो ये कह रहा था, मैंने तो सिर्फ 35% डालने के लिए कहा है इक्विटी फंड्स में। व्हाट अबाउट द 65%? उसमें से भी आप यू विल बी इंक्लाइन टू पुट 20% इन डेट फंड्स। हैव यू एवर सीन डेट फंड्स गिविंग डबल डिजिट रिटर्न्स? हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट? आप कितने साल से इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं?
4 years सर।
मैंने 14% डेट फंड में रिटर्न देखा है, 14%। और जिस दिन ये मार्केट का जब बैंक रेट नीचे जाएंगे, दिस रिटर्न फ्रॉम लॉन्ग टर्म डेट फंड विल क्रॉस डबल डिजिट्स। यू कैन राइट इट डाउन। इवन वन मोमेंट, लेट मी टेल यू। अभी मैंने आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड इन्वेस्टिंग 3 months ago इन अ पर्टिकुलर फंड। So इसमें I went for this particular fund and it's given me, it's heading towards a double digit return. Okay, DSP floater fund. Now I needed money. I knew that I will need the money in the month of September, October, August and all that. So I started exiting my DSP funds and shifting to DSP floater fund. It is single star category as per value research. And compounded annual return 11.5%. I did STP into this from equity to debt. Why? I needed the money, but I didn't want it in the bank. So I did that. Already 11.5 from 28th of April. The last STP completed in 1st of June. You have that. So double digit इसमें भी आते हैं। ठीक है?
यस सर, यू हैड अ वास्ट एक्सपीरियंस। सो सर मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कि इक्विटी, जैसे मेरा पोर्टफोलियो का आज वैल्यू सपोज 40 lakhs है, 45 lakhs है, तो अगर मार्केट्स और सिचुएशंस कभी बहुत ही डाउन हो जाएगा तो ये अप टू 50% नीचे भी आ सकता है।
बिल्कुल आ सकता है, बिल्कुल आ सकता है। 2008 में आया था। लेकिन आपको दूसरा सोचना चाहिए कि जब आपका 45 lakhs 25 या 30 lakhs हो जाएगा, will you be earning or not? You will be earning.
Yes sir.
At that stage, if you will buy for 100 rupees, any mutual fund you will buy for 100 rupees, actual उसकी वैल्यू क्या होगी? 200?
Yeah.
है ना? तो मतलब आपको वही एप्पल जो आप कल 200 रुपए में खा रहे थे, अब आज आपको 100 रुपए में मिल रहा है। या जो जीन्स आप पहले 3000 रुपए की खरीदने वाले थे, आज 1500 में मिल रही है, तो खरीदोगे ना? जीन्स की तो आपको जरूरत है। यही this is what happened with me in 2008. I knew for sure that this market will go up. So I kept investing my entire salary for 2 years. I did not shun. My distributor जो आज भी है, वो कहता था, सर आप ठीक कर रहे हो ना, मुझे ठीक नहीं लग रहा है। मैंने कहा भाई, अगर अच्छे टाइम में ये ठीक हो सकता है तो बुरे टाइम में भी ठीक हो सकता है। मेरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर मुझे कहता था, सर अमेरिका में सब लोग हिले हुए हैं, कोई इक्विटी में नहीं डाल रहा, योर्स इज द ओनली एसटीपी व्हिच इज रनिंग। मैंने कहा डजंट मैटर, मेरी चलने दे। मैंने तो कभी एसआईपी रखी नहीं है। आई वाज ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू कीप एसटीपीज। ठीक है ना? तो ये याद रखना कि मैंने ये शुरू में भी कहा है, आप शायद उस समय तक आए नहीं थे। मैं तो कहता हूं कि प्रे करो कि भगवान मार्केट नीचे जाए। मेरे पूरे टाइम जब मैं कमा कर लौटूं तो मार्केट क्रैश हो जाए और 20% नीचे आ जाए, सो दैट यू गेट अ अपॉर्चुनिटी टू पुट दिस मनी।
Yes sir, understood.
It should only go up when you want to redeem in 2030, 40, 50, whenever you want to redeem. आज तो नीचे जाना चाहिए, ये कहना चाहिए। ऊपर नीचे जाना चाहिए so that you can invest at all levels, right? Volatility is the investor's best friend. इस बहुत सारी किताबें जो इंटरनेट पे चलती है, सारी एक ही बात कहती हैं। तो अंडरस्टैंड द मार्केट, अंडरस्टैंड द सिस्टम, ये कहीं नहीं जा रहा है। आई वुड हैव बीन हैप्पी इफ यू हैड बीन लिसनिंग टू दिस विद योर वाइफ्स, बिकॉज इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट दे अंडरस्टैंड। कल को जब मार्केट नीचे जाता है, वो आपको ना कहे, देखो बेवकूफ बन गए ना, तू किस बुड्ढे की बात सुनते थे, उसने अपना तो कर लिया, अब हमें बेवकूफ बना रहा है। तो तब के लिए आपके लिए बात है कि वो आपको समझाते कि नहीं, जरूरी नहीं है और सब ठीक है, आगे भी ठीक चलेगा। ठीक है ना? तो ये अपने दिमाग में तब रखना, बिल्कुल अपने होश मत खोना, घबराना मत। ठीक है ना
सर? एक तो आपने फ्लोटर फंड और डेप्ट फंड बताया सर, और दूसरा कौन सा है कि जिससे हमारी कैपिटल प्रिजर्व हो जाए, या फिर जो फंड मैनेजर्स है उनको थोड़ा
पूरा वैल्यू रिसर्च online.com में /funds डालो, पूरी लिस्ट आती है। तो डेट फंड्स में आप लोअर लेवल से शुरू हो जाते हैं ओवरनाइट फंड, मतलब जिसमें कि उनके पेपर्स 2-3 दिन के लेवल के होते हैं। फिर मनी मार्केट फंड्स या लिक्विड फंड जिसमें कि पेपर्स 2-3 महीने के लेवल के मेच्योरिटी के होते हैं, पेपर्स मतलब जो उधार देते हैं। फिर अल्ट्रा शॉर्ट टर्म जहां पे 6 महीने से 1 साल के होते हैं, शॉर्ट टर्म फंड्स जहां पे 1 साल से 3 साल के होते हैं, लॉन्ग टर्म फंड जहां पे 3 से 10 साल के होते हैं, 25 साल के होते हैं। तो ये सब कैटेगरीज हैं। कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड फंड, क्रेडिट रिस्क फंड। अब इसमें क्या होता है कि एट सर्टेन स्टेज ऑल ऑफ देम डू गुड। कभी कोई अच्छा कर रहा है, कभी कोई अच्छा कर रहा है, पर सब 1-2%, 3% के लेवल में रहते हैं, इससे ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता। हमें इन्वेस्ट कैसे करना होता है? नॉट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ रिटर्न्स। हम देखते हैं कौन सा फंड हैज AAA रेटिंग पेपर्स, मतलब जिसको उसने उधार दिया है वो कितना अच्छा है। फ्रैंकलिन टेम्पल्टन इतनी अच्छी कंपनी है, फ्रैंकलिन इंडिया, बट इट हैड 6 स्कीम जिसमें उसने बहुत ही अच्छा रिटर्न जनरेट करने के लिए उसने वोडाफोन आइडिया के पेपर्स लिए हुए थे, उनको उधार दिया हुआ था। और एक और कोई कंपनी थी, आई फॉरगेट द नेम, स्टील वाली कोई कंपनी थी, भूषण स्टील या कोई, उनको दिया हुआ था। वो लोग डिफॉल्ट कर गए अपने उधार पर। तो इन लोगों ने ये नहीं किया कि अपनी एनएवी को नीचे आने दिया और सब करने दिया। उन्होंने क्या किया, उन स्कीम्स को फ्रीज कर दिया कि इसमें ना पैसा हम लेंगे ना पैसा देंगे। अब उन्होंने अपने उधार जिनको दिया था, बिकॉज डेट का मतलब तो उधार दे रहे हैं ना हम, तो उनको उन्होंने कहा कि भाई हमारा पैसा वापस करो, return our money, and they kept at it. They went to the court and this, and then they got the money, and they returned every pie with appreciation. So उन्होंने और ट्रस्ट पैदा किया सिस्टम के अंदर, राइट? सो ये वाला है, अगर आपको ज्यादा रिस्क नहीं लेना है, जिसमें आपकी इक्विटी चलती है उसमें लिक्विड फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर दो, ठीक है? उसमें फ्लोटर रेट में इन्वेस्ट कर दो, या उसमें क्या कहते हैं, अगर ज्यादा टाइम के लिए रखना है, 2-3 साल के रख सकते हो डेट में पैसा, तो लॉन्ग टर्म में इन्वेस्ट कर दो। HDFC लॉन्ग टर्म और ICICI लॉन्ग टर्म, दे आर वेरी गुड। और उसका निपॉन का निवेश लक्ष्य, इट्स अ वेरी गुड स्कीम विच इज परफॉर्मिंग। डेली बेसिस में नहीं दिखाई पड़ेगा, बट इसमें ऐसा नहीं होता कि एक दिन में पैसा 10% कम हो गया, अगले दिन में 10% भाग गया। 0.02, 0.3, 0, -0.03, ऐसे करते करते, बट आपका जो ईयर का रिटर्न आता है वो तो उतना होना ही है ना, बिकॉज आप जब किसी को उधार दे रहे हो उसे रेट तो ले ही रहे हो ना आप, यू अंडरस्टैंड? तो ये कैपिटल प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए अच्छे हैं। बट आई डिड नॉट राइट ऑफ द FDs आइदर। उसमें भी रखना है हमें, यहाँ पे भी रखना है, PPF में भी रखना है, राइट? और NPS आपने खोला है, आप एज ए NRI यू कैन नॉट पुट इन Tier 2, वाइफ के नाम से आप Tier 2 में भी रख सकते हैं। दैट वर्क्स ब्यूटिफुली बिकॉज इट डज नॉट हैव एनी लोड ऑन शिफ्टिंग फंड्स फ्रॉम डेट टू इक्विटी और वॉट एवर। उसमें भी रख सकते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत, ज्यादा नहीं, थोड़ा बहुत, बट उसमें लॉक इन नहीं होता है Tier 2 में। सो पॉइंट इज, व्हेन वी हैव मनी वी विल कवर ऑल एवेन्यूज। जब कम पैसा है उसको हम इधर रख के चलेंगे जहां थोड़ा ग्रोथ हो, राइट? जैसे जैसे आपका बढ़ता जाएगा वैसे वैसे आप करते जाना। और अब बज गए हैं पूरे 6, 2 घंटे हुए, और मैं हूँ 60 साल का, ठीक है?
यस सर, थैंक यू सर।
क्यों भाई अभिनव, ठीक है ना? ओके, और तो कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है? होगा तो आप मुझे भेज देना, एंड वी विल डू इट नेक्स्ट सैटरडे। आई थिंक 2 hours a week is good enough. It has helped me also. I am getting less queries now, lesser phone calls. ठीक है ना? सो थैंक यू सो मच।